Your belief, poet made this one. Grown Folks Production.
In the mix.
With the commish, Nate.
I was going to say hello, but you're all staring at a black screen now because everything went haywire. So you stay here. Let me reset this thing. I will be right back.
It's almost as good as the screenshot that I got of him in the game against, was it? I think it was the championship OMFL Bowl game.
Hello. I can hear you. Coming through.
Actually, too. Alright, we'll find that picture. I think that's probably, oh, yep, here it is.
Of course you got it.
Oh, yeah, I've got it. This is so funny.
Fingers and toes crossed.
Yeah, look at us. There we go. I finally see my old ugly mug. Welcome back. Sorry. Literally, as I was hitting the go live button, actually we were live, I was hitting to go full screen and do the intro, my internet hiccuped. And when it did that, it screwed everything up. It screwed up my capture card, it screwed up my mic, it screwed everything up. I had to completely reset everything. But we're back, we're here. We're 2 minutes late from starting this draft. Guys, welcome into the OMFL 105th Bowl. No, not bowl. We did the bowl already. Draft. That's what I'm trying to say. My mind's all over the place. Let's get over here. Welcome in. I think we got Maniac in here. I know Big Hurt's in here. Trey's in here. I think I heard Kevin a while ago. There was another random voice that I just kind of heard, but I have no clue who it was.
We got Duval.
Duval. What's up, Duval?
The future Super Bowl champion is here.
I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. Okay, that's what I love about the OMFL. It's what we love about the NFL. Everyone thinks they're going to be the Super Bowl champion. Okay, let's get over there. We're advancing this baby. We're going to get this draft started. We did not get a chance to do any kind of pre-show thanks to my glitch. I'm always scared, fellas, of hitting the advance to the Super Bowl situation. I mean, to the draft situation, because there's something in me that remembers 2 Maddens ago whenever I did that and it simmed the entire draft for no reason at all. I'm always scared that's what's going to happen. Atlanta Falcons, they're up first. Then we got the Pittsburgh Steelers and their brand new owner, Penguins. He's back in Pittsburgh. Oh my God. Then we got our guy Duval up with the Jaguars. Bill with Buffalo. He moved all the way up to number 4. The Minnesota Vikings, the LA Rams. That's your top 5 picks. Man, we got quite the afternoon planned here. Oh, did I name 6? Well, whatever. Now we got the OMFL champion going to correct everybody about everything.
How do you guys count? The show's 6. There's 5 in the lineup and then the one guy picking.
Yeah, but he said the Falcons were first, so that's 1. It's simple, great math. How do you win an OMFL Bowl and not know how to do math?
Hey, okay, everybody be nice. This is way too early in this draft to be sitting here talking about this, going at each other already.
We just got the one One pick in, and they're like already going
Parker
throats, man.
Parker
Jeez.
Colts, the quarterback out of Pittsburgh. He's going over to Atlanta. What do we think about Parker Colts?
Looked like the best quarterback in the draft, and after the trade for Desmond Ridder, I think it was an obvious pick.
He was hands down the best QB in the draft.
That's my guy, Mr. Roger. What's happening?
Nice pick. Nice
The-
pick, Duvall.
The 1-2 on my
Hey, I knew
board went
somebody
1 and
would fall
2.
to me.
Lyric Green,
that's
left
gonna be
outside linebacker out of West Virginia. He's going over to the Jacksonville Jaguars as Duval is trying to rebuild that team to make that Super Bowl run that he was just talking about.
That guy's going to be a bastard for somebody.
That's a surprise pick right there.
Speed. Chase
I know where this
What
pick's
he's got in
going.
his division.
That was the guy that I was.
He's got in his division. He's got.
My prayers have been answered.
Yep, I know where you're going.
Uh-oh.
That was the guy that I was hoping was going to fall down somehow to the Saints. It was never going to happen, though.
You're not scared.
Who are you taking? Maniac, what's your thought?
Cornerback.
I'm scared of what he knows.
Having 18 of us in this chat is not going to be fun.
There's 7 of us.
Oh my God! Stop correcting my math. It was a joke.
Already. Shepard's the pick.
Let's go.
Shepard.
Adrian Shepard. He's going over to the Minnesota Vikings. Guys, I'm calling it right now. Minnesota's going to make that entire division completely different. You got the champion Lions there. You got Big Hurt trying to make another run with his Chicago Bears. Now you got Maniac moving over to a very good team, a team that won the free agency last year and had the top pick. So he's going to be spectacular.
There you go. Smart pick.
It's a solid pick by the Rams.
Second best quarterback in the draft.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear
Okay.
you.
All right. People just like talking over me. So I'm just like, can anyone even hear me? Am I just talking to myself over here? Chandler
We're taking
Spencer.
over your draft show.
I know. Chandler Spencer, quarterback. He's going over the Rams. Guys, we're going to have to figure out some kind of momentum here, some kind of flow here. This is going to be just randomness all night long. Chandler Spencer, he's going over to Timothy, who just told me that Timothy and I, Rams Saints, are going to be playing week 1. I did not check out the schedule, so that should be a fun game as I get to go face against a rookie quarterback. Big drop off though from Parker Colt all the way down to Chandler Spencer. No,
Not that big. Not nearly as big as you might think.
that's what he said.
I think there is some quarterbacks that are later on in the rounds that are going to be surprisingly good.
What's Denver do here? Now, Denver has been that up and down team. We never quite sure. And feel free, guys. Trey, you do a good job of this. Let me know
The
when we
number
can
2
skip
overall
people.
pick is still sitting on my board.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Vega's going to fall. I think it's just the way that this draft is going to play out. Now, we've seen rookie running backs make a well, as I say that, there he goes right there. Javier Vega, halfback out of Missouri. He's going over to the Denver Broncos. Halfbacks have
that
made an
4-3
early
speed,
difference.
Man. That kid got some real jets. I wanted him.
Patriots, man. Lost Sniper has had a hard time kind of figuring out his rhythm, especially on offense. I'm surprised he didn't try to move up and grab a quarterback here. It's too late now,
He
though.
tried to get my pick.
Yeah.
He wanted the number 3
He did
pick.
try to move up. He just didn't get it.
Ross Carter, defensive tackle. He's going to move over to the New England Patriots out of San Diego State. Big man's going to help that defense as they completely try to rebuild. But I'm surprised he didn't go offense, which seemed to be his struggle the last few seasons. We got the Philadelphia Eagles, Seattle Seahawks.
So he got Carter to replace him.
Las Vegas Raiders. I don't know why I had a stroke right there, but I did. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Arizona Cardinals, and Los Angeles. I always have to pause when I say it, but Los Angeles Chargers. That is your next 6 picks. I better say it right. Trey's over here correcting a brother's math like he's some kind of 5th grade teacher or something. I can't make any mistakes over here. Philadelphia Eagles. It's got to, again, like you would think this has got to be on the offensive side of the ball.
One would assume. The defense is pretty set and ready to go.
He took the tackle that that's a tough pick right there. That was the one tackle on the right side. Out of the 3 or 4 on the left and the right tackles, I probably would have passed on. I wonder how good he is. But it is a very deep draft on the line side, I think. Yeah,
That's a reach and a half.
Yeah, that was a big drop there. I would have not went with that pick at all. Let's see what I can find. He was so far down my list, I had to go looking for him.
He's on page 2.
Kyron Worthy, right outside linebacker out of South Carolina. He's going over to the Seattle Seahawks. A guy that I feel is reestablishing himself. Like he's refocused. He's ready to go at it.
Oh, that was not a reach at all.
Oh wow, yeah. He found a steal.
The corner?
That right outside linebacker. Oh my! Wow. Neat boy, pulling out some rabbit stuff here out of the hat. This is like it's like Parsons type worthy player nearly.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what his zone coverage is.
Kevin Walker, cornerback out of Northwestern, he's going over to the Las Vegas Raiders to help Jay Bows as he starts to rebuild some of that defense. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Arizona Cardinals, Los Angeles Chargers, New Orleans Saints, Carolina Panthers, Tennessee Titans. Those are your next few teams that are coming up here.
Kind of curious of that Kevin Walker dude. I actually had him as a second round player, but I do know he had some good qualities and coverage. So I'm kind of curious to see what that guy turned out for him.
I had him at like 57 overall. That was a good pick for them. He's slow, but this receiver's a little slow. But
I know this is going back. I know this is going back a couple of picks, but Chandler Spence has 97 throw power. That's a pretty good pick.
Eric Curtis was the guy I was hoping would fall down out of Penn State.
That much drop off in those quarterbacks. They were both good.
Holy cow, we're going to talk over each other all night long here. Eric Curtis, middle linebacker out of Penn State. He's going over to Arizona, who's got a brand new owner looking to pick up where Bird left off as Bird shipped his talents over to Washington. That's a really good pick. It was a guy I was hoping to follow just a couple more picks here. Why is it when no one's talking, then no one talking? Like, it just gets absolutely silent. But if Nate's got one thing to say, everybody on this stream wants to talk.
He went so long.
My God.
What was that again?
Never again am I allowing this many people on this stream. It is just not going to happen. I am pausing.
Too,
I am pausing it on my pick because y'all got me all over the place over here. I would say my top 7 players are all gone. I'd say the top 8 out of my top 10 are all gone. So as the OMFL normally does, you guys are grabbing these players and gobbling them up pretty quickly here.
Yeah, guys seem to do their homework really well.
Are the Chargers not around? What a waste of time. I hate watching this clock. Oh, as I say that, he picks.
Yeah, he's here. The only people that aren't here are Commanders, the Cowboys, the Niners, the Titans, and the Ravens.
I had that guy at 40
I
overall.
thought the Saints wasn't here. Thought we could skip that pick.
We're going to
Yeah,
skip
let's
it
skip
because
the
it's going to be a waste of time anyway. All right, let me go figure out what I'm doing. Let me get it off of this because I hate letting y'all see my draft board, even though it's not really set that much.
Make your pick, Nate. Make your pick. You got it, man.
This is going to be terrible, y'all.
Even picked it. He's like, it's gonna be.
Yeah,
bad.
it's going to be really bad.
If he get a punter, he's a Hall of Famer.
First ballot. First ballot.
He's already got a Hall of Fame kicker.
Let's go, punter. Let's go.
That might be the only thing the Saints need.
That linebacker that Deep picked, Eric Curtis, was a hidden dev, and he's got some really good traits: 87 speed, 86 jump, 86 agility, 88 acceleration. This guy is definitely
80s across the board.
Yeah, 80s across the board, man.
Strength,
And he's
speed,
only
jumping,
21, so.
change the die.
This is not the guy that I wanted to pick, but Sergio Walden is going to be a Saint.
It's a good pick.
It's not a good pick. I just traded away a good safety. Why do I need to waste that pick on a safety? I'm so angry about it.
Well,
Hate all of you who took the players I needed. All right, resuming the draft. It's going to be over to Black Panther. I don't need it. I don't need him. He's literally going to ride the bench. I used the 15th pick on a guy that's going to ride the bench. I'm so frustrated by that.
Well, then trade the starter.
I just traded the starter. He's over in Green Bay.
Here's my week one opponent. Here's my week one opponent right here. I'm curious to see what he does.
Black Panther is tough. Yeah,
I just spoke it in existence, man.
This was the guy I looked at, and I talked myself out of it. I think he'll be a good player. I just don't think he's going to be a superstar.
Nate, you can skip the Titan. He's not here.
Alrighty. Done. Mr. Frank Gore, he's going over. That's a really good pick there.
Wow.
Nipples is not here either.
Baltimore isn't here as well.
Jason Holiday left in out of Texas A&M. He's going to go help out Nipples.
Here goes the run on the defensive lineman now.
gotta be a run somewhere.
Bengals got 2 of the next 6 picks.
Hurd is like thinking.
I'm surprised we're not really seeing not really seeing a run on a ton of skill positions, right? We're seeing the big boys get a lot of love here. I wonder if the champion had anything to do with that.
Just maybe.
Not gonna lie, I did pick up a very underrated defensive end with 87 speed and 91 acceleration that I'm hoping gets to start for my team. Because the Saints need to add to their OMFL Bowl trophy. We've only got one sitting in there. We need another.
Nick, here's the issue. You've got to keep up. You've got to keep up with both Williams and Belton.
I'm curious to see that because I actually had this guy like in the top end of my draft board. It was
Did you?
5, 6 in that area.
I had him ranked all the way down, probably second round, early second round is kind of where I had him rated. What do you think, Big Hurt?
Yeah, like high 30s. I mean, it's not bad for where he picked him. If he had picked him in the top 10, that would be.
I don't pick running backs or linemen in the top 10, but that's for me is like skill positions. The like a top end linebacker, cornerback, wide receiver, quarterback, running back, and those type of things like that. I look for like further in the draft. But
Daniel Sharp, right tackle out of California. I didn't even have him on my board until much later in this draft. That feels like a bit of a reach there.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't anyone that I would have particularly looked in the first 2 rounds, at least.
Yeah, that's a bit of a head scratcher.
I've got him way down.
Braylon Pittman, strong safety out of Louisville. He's going to go over there to Colin, who I said this last year on Press Pass Live after playing him, had a terribly underrated defense. Very, very good defense, and he's adding a really good player there. We're seeing the big guys go here, offensive line, defensive line. It's either protect the quarterback or get after the quarterback. That's the name of the game here. I think we're going to see people want those speed cornerbacks and receivers, especially after watching what Trey did last season. I just don't think this draft had it. There's just that top end. There's fast guys that like top end speed on both sides, those skill positions just isn't there in this draft.
You don't got the track stars.
Nope, no track stars in this one. The Browns.
I have seen some. Now I was going to say I have seen some projections be a little bit off in Madden. Sometimes they'll say like their 40 time was this, and then all of a sudden it's like you draft them and they're a 94 speed, 92 acceleration guy, and you're like, whoa, that's not what I was getting from scouting them. But you know, sometimes Madden will kind of throw a curveball like that.
Big Hurt, your buddy over in Cincinnati, was trying to move his first round pick a little earlier tonight. Any insight? He ran out of time before he could move it, but the Colts are such an intriguing team. Slow start, got hot, made a deep run, and then wanted to move his first round pick.
I don't know much. I do know that he was going to be out tonight and wasn't sure if he was going to be back and started the draft, so that might be the only reason he was trying to move his pick.
That would make sense. We got the Cincinnati Bengals and Little Koch, an amazing season, but then just hit a bit of a speed bump whenever he got into the playoffs.
It's not a surprising pick if you did your research to him.
Now, this was a very good player. This was a top end player.
Carlisle.
Yeah, I had him at like 24 on my list.
Yeah, I think my guy is trying to think of. Are the Colts here?
I don't know if he is. I texted him earlier.
He's on.
Okay. It looks like Little Koch is trying to get back to what he does really well and maybe trying to find a cheaper, younger version of Carlisle. Bryson Wake is probably going to be that tight end out of Miami, out of Ohio, staying home in his home state and going to go play for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, that was one of the guys that potentially considering if he fell to 32.
We got the Colts up now. Saints, Jets, Texans, Dolphins, Texans. Texans with some back-to-back picks as we are quickly coming to the end of the first round.
Tonight.
We're going to be saying the Texans a ton.
The sixth to or half of, third of the third round there. There's 32 picks. I get 6 of them.
I got 3 in the second round.
All right, let me make this selection really quick. Another guy that will ride the bench.
Speaking of faith, Nate.
2 first round picks, and they're both going to go ride the bench. I wish I had those problems.
Well, it's not a good problem to have, I promise.
you're creating depth. That's a great problem.
Yeah. That depth, that'll really help you out in that playoff run. Whenever you're facing the 99 speed receiver that Raj gave D Money. And that depth will come in real handy.
What? Hold the press. Like, who traded D Money?
Yeah.
Wide receiver.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh my. Raj, I thought better of you, dude.
And he's 6'3". Oh.
Oh my.
Yeah, he's a bastard.
Roger, you just ruined my.
Yeah, I don't. Trust me, I've been cussing Roger out all day. I don't know why any of you talk to D Money, talk to D Wayne, talk to Penguin. Like, why? Why are you talking to these people? Ignore their DMs. What is wrong with you all? I'm sick of sending trophies to the same 3 guys every Madden.
Now you gotta send one to Canada.
And you all say the same thing. It's the same thing that no. It's the same thing that Raj said. Well, I'm not going to win the Super Bowl, so what do I care? And I'm like, I care. Okay. All right. Let me get back over here. What am I doing over here?
Is he having a
That's a long
spaz
ways.
attack?
That's a long shipment.
I feel like Nate got broken this offseason.
Yeah, you guys have broke me.
Maybe Nate should be the one that should be drinking, not Roger.
Maybe.
What am I doing with my life? Okay, I'm just going to make this pick. Forget it.
You got it. This is going to be a good pick.
Punter.
Maniac, I appreciate your positivity. I really do, but...
We ain't stressing shit.
There's guys there.
Okay. I had that guy on my board.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good player. We'll see. All right, Connor Dowling.
Didn't waste any time. They just picked.
Look,
Oh, there's Dowling.
yeah, very good linebacker out of Fresno State. He's going to go help out Kobe, who everyone was picking, or a lot of people were picking to make it to OMFL Bowl from the AFC, and well, he just kind of ran into a bit of a buzzsaw.
Buzzsaw, injuries, perfect combination.
My theme for the offseason was the rich got richer.
Yep,
And
you're right.
The free agency. That's all I'll say.
All I
Bill
can
got
do
Caleb
is
Farley. Kobe got Eric Stokes. And was it Colin got D Hopkins, and Bill also got Bobby Wagner.
That was not what I wanted to do with that.
Oh, I heard.
Whatever.
yeah, I heard the same thing.
You still got the time pause too.
Oh, I sure do. My bad. Thank you for pointing that out. Dylan Claiborne out of Boise State, cornerback. He goes over to the Houston Texans with almost back-to-back picks there. Raj, how'd your 2 almost back-to-back picks look?
Well, Claiborne was like number 7 on my board, but he's not as fast as I wanted. That wasn't the guy I meant to take. But it happened, so whatever.
Yeah, I avoided him too.
So
I was too worried
drinking.
about that speed.
No, I'm not drinking. I don't drink.
I do like this Emmett Boyd defensive tackle out of Vanderbilt trade. I think that's a very good pick. And in about the right space here as we're moving into the second round.
It's the one thing I need. Yeah,
I can hear it in his voice, a little chuckle.
There's a stat in there that I didn't anticipate that, yeah, I'm for it.
The Atlanta Falcons are going to bounce back a lot this season. He was just, for whatever reason, the quarterback hinder him. He's got the quarterback figured out. He's got Derrick Henry. I don't know how much Derrick Henry may have regressed, but he's got quite the playmakers all over the field over in Atlanta. I'm looking for him to really turn it around, and giving him the number 1 pick in the draft, well, that's only going to help him.
Yeah, I definitely see Atlanta bouncing back for sure.
Penguins going
That's
back
much
over.
firepower over there.
Penguins going back over to Pittsburgh. What are we expecting to see from the Steelers now? There goes Mr. Kevin Bacon.
I think with that move, we've got the NFC and AFC East and AFC or NFC East for top divisions in the conference now.
It definitely has brought a pause to the power that has been in the OMFL, which has been very NFC heavy for the last few almost Maddens. Brings a little pause in there. You've got Kobe over there now. Penguins has moved over there. There's a little bit more balance there whenever it comes to the power of these teams.
Denver, Wilcox, Cincy.
Yeah, you almost have essentially a rival now. You have your 7 top guys that you expect to be playoff bound in the NFC, and you also that set pretty much in the AFC.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, that division's going to be a buzzsaw.
We got the Steelers, the Jags,
Yeah,
the
that's gonna be
Titans,
crazy,
the
right?
Vikings, the Rams, the Broncos. Those are your next 6 picks, all coming up here pretty soon. A lot of good players left, but as the OMFL does, you guys pick away the top portions of these draft boards pretty quickly. We still have, though, a lot of talent that I still had a first-round grade on, especially when we look at offensive linemen, the defensive backfield, safeties. There's a couple safeties out there, a few wide receivers, and halfback hasn't. I think we've only got one halfback that's been off the board so far. So halfback is still a position that I think you're going to see some good players fall. Or Penguins just milking this clock all the way down, huh?
Ooh, that was the guy that I was going to take instead of my tackle, so I'm interested to see what he is.
I had him ranked 49th in this. Dwayne Weathersby out of Michigan State. He's going to go help Penguins rebuild that offensive line, which I think needs a focus. It needed a focus early in this Madden, and you can see now Penguins is starting to put some of his money where the mouth is to get that offensive line rebuilt.
Tarzane.
Speaking of halfback, there we have one out of Baylor going to go over to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who had one of the probably Hall of Fame running backs. I don't know if he'll make the Hall of Fame, but early on was a Hall of Fame kind of running back, retired this past season.
Oh, the old man retired finally, huh?
Yep, Mr. Morris, Mr. Ben Morris.
Called it a day.
At least that's what I recall. Duval can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure Mr. Ben Morris has called it a career, a long career here in the OMFL.
Yeah, he left me. But it's a nice little guy I just picked up, though. I like him.
Yeah, there's some good halfbacks, and that's good value here in the second round.
You can skip
He also picked up
Titans.
AJ Dillon.
That's right.
Yeah.
Stephen Walsh, left tackle out of Boise State. He's going to go help the Tennessee Titans, and Mr. Truth, who I really hope can get that team on the right track this year. We've seen potential, but it's now to put that potential together and make a real run at the playoffs here. Minnesota Vikings up next. A team that I really think, I know that they're high in this draft, brand new owner. Okay, we've said our piece about the Vikings. I think they don't have a ton of pieces missing. This is a playoff ready team. Just needed an owner that could take them over, reshape them to fit his playing style, and I'm sure that Maniac's going to have that done as we roll into season number 105 here.
Yeah, Maniac's going to bring an interesting dynamic to a already competitive North.
What a great name. Paul Kemp, strong safety out of Oregon. I had him ranked as my 22nd best player. He's going to be a nice pick here early in the second round. He's going over to Minnesota. Maniac, how did that guy look?
Well, he's a normal dev, 22, 88 speed, 87 jump, 87 change direction. One thing I like about it is his agility, 91 for a safety and 90 acceleration. His strength's a little bit low, but I believe with his style, he's gonna grow in that. So he's definitely feels a need, and he's gonna be my starter.
That agility is going to come in handy as you face the Lions, and he's got to flip those hips and run with the 99 speed receivers out there. So good luck with that. Neil Reed,
Absolutely.
left tackle out of Vanderbilt, another good player here going over to the Los Angeles Rams. What's it going to take for the Rams to get things turned around? Tim's got a quarterback now. He's investing in some offensive line. He held on to some of those defensive players that were kind of getting older here. The Rams have kind of been like right there on the edge, but he needs to get over the hump here.
Yeah, he's fighting an uphill battle being in the division with D-Money. But if he can find that momentum against everybody, he's just that one offensive piece away, I feel, because the defense is still built pretty well together.
Damian Fox, cornerback out of Texas A&M. He's going to go help the Denver Broncos, who look to be investing in the defensive side of the football here. But another team that I would say needs a few more offensive weapons. This, again, wasn't a super strong draft, though, for some of those skill positions. Justice Walker. What a great name, huh? Justice Walker, quarterback out of Arizona. This is a bit of a reach here. Now, you know, you're in the second. You missed out on some of those top guys, so why not take a bit of a flyer? But Justice Walker out of Arizona State, he's going to go try to help New England keep that thing back on track. I did have him ranked as my 85th best player, though, so a little bit of a reach here in the second round, but if you're going to take a quarterback, you're going to have to reach.
I mean, reaching has worked well recently.
Houston Texans, Seahawks, Raiders, Bucks, Saints, Chargers.
We're working on it. We're going to take a flyer. We have enough picks to be able to take a flyer. We're going to take one.
Trent Walker out of Kentucky. He's going over to the Houston.
96 feedback. 98
Wow.
as well. Holy shit. Catch me if you can.
And that was a guy I was hoping would fall a little bit later in this draft, but when you have multiple picks like some of these guys do, you know that they're going to take a spot on some of these guys with those really super skilled positions.
Oh, that guy could be a problem this year and potential Rookie of the Year candidate.
Geo Booker out of Stanford.
Another outside linebacker.
Geo going to go help the Seattle Seahawks, who started out red hot in season 104 and then just sort of hit a learning curve or something happened there. Something changed for him, and it really was on the defensive side of the ball where he needs a lot of help, and you can see he's investing in it.
That's back-to-back outside linebackers for the Seahawks. Very interesting.
Raiders with a nice safety there.
Another fast linebacker. That speed on that Seahawks defense is ridiculous.
Yeah, this Madden seems to be going.
Stick up with that 99 speed wide receiver that Roger gave him. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. Listen, it's going to happen.
I don't want a linebacker.
Sean Gibson, middle linebacker out of Ole Miss, going to help Kevin and his Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let me make my pick really fast. Let you guys do your thing.
There was Gibson on the board.
Still some really good players left on the board.
There's a ton of good stuff left on the board. Gibson was like 61 for me, so that's not too bad, I guess.
Yeah, I have. Me personally, I made a short list of like top 30 something players, and then my favorites inside Madden was my long list. Like, so I've got them separated, but I'm looking for the guys that are on my page here that I've made the list of, and that's kind of the way I'm drafting. So far, it's turned out pretty good. What does Nate need?
Everything.
He says they're all going to the bench anyway, so I don't know that it makes two shits in a whirlwind.
That would be a bad situation. I just got a visual. I was like, that would be a bad if you're inside a whirlwind facing. Oh man, that's
just not.
sometimes.
No, I did not need that. Jeez Louise. Probably sitting waiting for me to take the pick. What y'all think about your first week opponent?
Oh, I don't know who I have. Who do I have? Let me take a guess. It's Trey for the Minnesota Vikings versus the Lions.
Nope. You draw the Philadelphia Eagles, friend. I mean, Twinkie.
Twinkie.
Roger draws Meek and the Seahawks.
That's not a bad.
It's not a good pick either.
That's not a bad pick at all.
All right, we're over to the Chargers, the Packers, the Panthers,
Rushing.
the Bengals, the Ravens, and then over to the Bears as we are moving right through here, about middle way of the second round. It sucks that we didn't get a chance to do a pause draft, but you guys voted for a very fast offseason, so shoot, we just did a bowl game on Monday, and we're going to be back to week 1 tomorrow.
Fast turnaround. Which is kind of amazing to think about if you think about it, because as many struggles as Madden has presented us with this cycle, that everybody is ready to go to get back to a new season. So I guess that speaks volumes of the quality in the community.
Paul Barnett, defensive tackle out of Ohio, and as I hear that, it sounds like somebody else had kind of wanted him to fall a little bit lower.
Yes, I had him.
I hate that when you have a guy,
my next pick, so.
a guy that you're like, oh yeah, he's gonna fall, he's right there, he's right there. Oh, God. It's the worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just went out his feet. That's a big reach.
Ooh,
Oh,
big
wow.
reach. Errol McKnight. This was a guy that kind of had my eye on a little bit.
That's going to be a good tight end right there.
what Priest always does.
Look, that's what Priest does. I just missed that Panthers pick. I don't know if anybody else picked up on it, but Stephen Dell.
That was the tight end out of Texas.
Tight end out of Texas. I don't know who that was. I missed it. Stephen Dell, middle linebacker out of Miami. He's going to go over to the Cincinnati Bengals.
That's a good pick, too.
He's building up that defense. You can skip this pick, Nate.
That's right. I like the tone that you all have whenever you tell me to skip a pick. Like, why can't you remember this? And I'm like, because I'm busy. That's why I can't remember this. 95 acceleration, 96 speed, hidden, 90 jump, 90 change of direction, 88 agility. I'm assuming that's the guy that you all just said was a reach, that he is saying was actually a pretty good player. So I'm not sure. Brandon May, a right guard, is going to go over to help out Nipples.
He's building up that Russian attack, looks like. I'm curious to see what Big Hurt does here. Is he going to go defense, or is he going to go offense again?
He has a buttload of defense.
If I had to guess, I would say... Yeah, I was thinking, say, if I had to guess, he's either going, like, looking at safety, possibly, or looking at maybe an offensive weapon.
Raj, give me your top 5 left.
Let's see here. Currently, wide receiver Thomas out of Notre Dame, free safety Easley out of TCU, wide receiver Prince from LSU, Bishop right end, and low middle. My rankings are all over the board. I don't necessarily follow what Madden says. I follow what the trades say.
Chicago Bears milking this one down all the way to the very end. Mr. Sweeney.
I think he's sick and tired of the pass rush that comes from the NFC North.
Mr. Trent Sweeney, he's going to go
I don't
help.
have to worry about Hunter no more.
Yeah, but lose Hunter, have to deal with it, right?
All right, we're pick number 20 here in the second round. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. Us and all the crew, probably the biggest crew that we've ever had. So when we get to round number 4, we'll start taking some interviews. If you want to be interviewed, just come hop in the chat and let some of the friends in here know. Maybe Maniac or Trey or somebody can give me a heads up once we get to that point.
I got my eyes on it.
We'll talk to you about your team.
It's interesting to see what Colin. It's interesting to see what Colin's going. Or not Colin.
Not Colin Pepper. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so used to calling him.
Yeah, look, I think I find it difficult when you don't have your favorite team, and you're trying to like take over another team. Sometimes that motivation can be lacking, but we've seen when Pepper's hot and he's built a team that fits his style, man. He goes deep and he makes a real run. He can make the AFC so much better by getting these Chargers rolling.
I'd like to hopefully see him potentially find that second pass rusher, because after he traded away Mack, he kind of seemed to fall defensive side of the ball.
Well, he invested in that offensive line. Johnny Williams out of Oregon, the big right guard, going to go help Pepper try to protect his quarterback. Again, I think it's been the theme of this draft. You're either paying guys, drafting guys, I should say, to protect your quarterback, or you're drafting guys to get after the opposing quarterback. That is clearly where the OMFL is going for season 105.
Yeah, I very much felt that this draft class particularly was built the big guys on both interior of the defense and the offensive line for the.
Which is good. It's good to see a draft that kind of honors the big men. And there were still a couple of skill positions that were there, but not super skill position heavy. And the big guys are getting some love in this one. Virgil Thomas, big receiver who's going to be high overall, but he's dropping here really, really quickly. Theodore Ginn, halfback out of Ohio State. He's going to go help Maniac try to rebuild some of that offense. But Mr. Virgil Thomas, man, he may just continue to fall. Oh, yeah, I can skip this one before I get yelled at. Is he here? Can we just confirm he's not here, right?
He's not here.
All right. Still want to get yelled at here.
Yes.
I like that pick, though. Lorenzo Russell, free safety out of Texas A&M. He's going to go help Nipples. Pepper said, I have to protect my $400 million investment. And Jay Glaze said, yeah, but we need Bosa suspended every game. So we'll see how that works out.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Theodore turned out to be a hidden dev for me. 93 speed, like 92 acceleration, good ball carrier vision, good agility. So he's going to be probably taking over some of these slower backs that I have that are on the team right now eventually.
Emmett Stewart, cornerback out of Mississippi State. He's going to go help Denbrew and the Cleveland Browns. I think we're going to see a lot of like decent receivers and decent cornerbacks that don't have the super duper sexy burner track speed get drafted here late in the second, third, and maybe even some fall all the way to the fourth that are going to be really, really good players. I started to talk about him and then we got a little sidetracked, but Virgil Thomas is like a Mike Thomas style of clone. Like, he's going to be a really good route runner, great hands, maybe not a burner, but we've seen what Mike Thomas did with Cincyberg. So in the right offense, with the right quarterback, the right scheme, those guys can still put up tons of stats.
I would take a chance on him, but I've already got like 600 of those type of wide receivers on my team.
Yeah, that's I have the same problem as well. It's like I've got a pile of those guys. Tim Armstrong, I don't know that I even have him on my list. Right outside linebacker. Oh, no, I do. He's one of my top players. How did I miss him? I guess I misspelled it. Tim Armstrong, right outside linebacker out of Wisconsin. I had him ranked as my 11th best player still on the board. He's going to go help Little Koch in the Cincinnati Bengals.
One makes me wonder that maybe Koch thinks his defense was the reason that he didn't make it out with Miami this year.
Well, I mean, it's hard to debate whether the 41 points I think were put up in that game, and that's got to hurt a little bit, especially when you see what you did, Trey, to the Miami Dolphins in the OMFL Bowl. Timothy Potter, who is Tim, the Rams, he has one wide receiver on his team. Tim, if you could go ahead and just keep it that way until after week 1, I would much appreciate it. Much love. Lyle Merritt, free safety out of Tennessee. He's going over to the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay, he's not scared to take some flyers, and it looks like he's trying to take a page out of your book with the receiver he took a while ago. And now Mr. Lyle, hopefully he's another skilled position that can come in there and help him against those speedy Lion receivers. Ooh, I like the Demetrius. I like the Demetrius pick. That's a good pick.
Yeah, he's hidden dev, 93 string.
Ezekiel Prince, wide receiver out of LSU, really going to go help Kobe and the Jets.
Yep. I'm liking my draft. Liking it. Oh, Ezekiel Prince, I had him on that list too.
Bird, I do not think that we skipped you the first time, so I think you're good, buddy. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, Commanders didn't have a first-round pick.
I like that pick for the Texans. Mason Franklin at Appalachian State. He was one of my top 5 players left.
Lambert.
I don't think I had.
He's on my short list.
I don't think I had him at all. Oh, there he is. Jose Lambert out of Georgia. Yeah, he's my 5th best player on the board. Left guard's going to go help out Bird and his new offensive line that he's rebuilding there in Washington. We're coming to the end of the second round here. We got the Browns, the Cardinals, Lions, Falcons. We'll start off the third round, Steelers, and Jaguars. Guys, I don't know if it's a surprise to you. We can talk about it here for a little bit, but this is not the way I thought this draft would go. We've seen very few drafts go this way here in the OMFL. This has been very big boy heavy and a lot of investment in both the offensive and defensive lines.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk over anybody, but yeah, that's kind of interesting that you brought that point up, because in the times past we've seen like the first 2-3 rounds, like everybody's taking flyers on any kind of wide receiver's got any kind of speed, cornerbacks, linebackers. I mean, you name those type of players, quarterbacks, they're flying off the board with with a little speckle of those hogs coming out. But this draft, there's been a lot of big men coming off the board.
There's Mr. Virgil going over to the champion Detroit Lions. What's Mr. Virgil look like?
I will send it to you in a bit.
I don't need you to send it to me. I'm never going to see it. You can just tell me whenever you get a chance.
It's not the
It's no
fanciest of.
We're gonna find out soon enough.
Yeah, you'll find out when I post it right up.
I'm not gonna lie. There is a piece of me that wants Jamie Atwater just because of the name. Like, it just reminds me of Steve Atwater. I want an Atwater helping look over my secondary. I don't need him. I've got 500 safeties, but I want to draft the kid just because of his name. What a great name. Now, as I say that, he goes over to Atlanta. Jamie Atwater, strong safety out of Georgia. He's going to go help the Atlanta Falcons. Hopefully he sucks, because I do not need to see a good safety over in Atlanta.
You know, he was listening to this and he's like, oh, Atwater, huh?
I think it's the 3rd or 4th time this draft that Nate has said a guy's name, and then like within seconds that guy's name pops up.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody takes what Nate says, seriously. So
Yeah,
like, if he's
no
talking
one.
about it, he must be good. He must be on the board.
No one takes what I say seriously. Let's get that straight. But he picked him for the same reason I wanted him. He said, as a Broncos fan, I had to take an Atwater. I don't blame you, Broncos fan. I'm right there with you, brother. I actually didn't even make that connection in my head. I was like, oh yeah, Falcons. He's a Broncos fan. Duh. Top 5 for me is Junior Easley, free safety, Melvin Love, wide receiver, Jeff Lau, middle linebacker, and Elton Brath, right tackle. Pretty good right tackle still left on the board. We're getting to that place, though, where guys are going to start taking flyers. They're going to start going after those sexy strength or speed or acceleration or height, right? They're going to go after those very specific. Not going to surprise me if we start seeing kickers and punters starting to come off the ground, right?
I was waiting for the kicker, the punter to come. Camp.
I don't even have a
How
David
is that
Camp.
guy Duvall?
Not too bad. 80 speed, 79 strength, change of direction 75, agility 78, acceleration 84.
I think we're seeing a lot of that as well. A lot of like 80, 82 speed players that are good players. They're just not the super sexy 85, 88 speed guys. This draft, I think, is going to be.
There are no
love
middle
Jeff Lau.
linebacker roads, is what you're saying?
Yeah, there's none like that. I think this draft is going to be one of those drafts that in 2 seasons we're going to look back and talk about how solid of a draft it was. I think it's going to lack those like super sexy just players that walk in and they're like Hall of Famers from day one. There's very limited amount. It was like very middle heavy to me. And this is like right now we're like in the middle of the place in this draft that I think you're going to see a lot of very good players come off the board.
What was the linebacker's name that was a Hall of Famer for the Jaguars when Brady had him? I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about. He's all over a bunch of graphics, and he's in our Hall of Fame list. But yeah, that guy was he also played till he was like 40 here.
Yeah, and like I felt like he was just like that guy was like a staple linebacker that everybody, the Brian Urlacher or the the Ray Lewis type of player that we just and I haven't seen a guy like that for a while, like at the middle linebacker.
Pepper remembered Kratos.
He was. Yeah, that guy was.
Release the Kraken.
Yeah, that guy was very good. Daryl Salvi, evidently you liked him out of North Carolina. How's he looking for you, Maniac?
Hidden dev, 91 strength, speed 64, agility 72. Though he's pretty good agility there for being a guard, and 78 acceleration. So he gets out and fits my scheme really well, getting up the alley to get blocked for the running back. So
Broncos, Patriots, back to the Vikings, Seattle, the Raiders, and then Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Raj, did we lose Raj? Raj, give me some of your top 5.
No, I'm here. I'm still here. The Rams just took a wide receiver.
Ooh, I like that pick for the Broncos there. Alpine Stevens, he was one of my guys I had my eye on. Yeah, figures. God dang it. 96 speed, 97 acceleration. I was hoping he would fall just a few more picks here. Well, I'm not a few picks away. I'm way down deep in the 3rd round, but good pick there for the Broncos.
Jake Liz going back to the wide receiver. I think that's honestly, I have to say that's kind of the last time I've seen Jake Liz really be kind of a solid player. And he had that top receiver for a long time, and I think it was last Madden with the Broncos. And that was something I mentioned in one of our shows here, is that I feel like he needs to get back to that receiver game, because he has the running back playing pretty well, but it was just, I feel like he's missing that receiver, and Alpine Stevens might be that guy.
Junior Easley, free safety out of TCU, is my number 1 rated player on the board right now. He's going to go over to New England, who's investing a lot in the defense in this draft.
It seems to be very defensive heavy for the teams that have to defend speed receivers.
I was going to say, I feel like being in the division with Massimo, Bill, and Kobe, you got to be able to stop and get the ball into your offensive hands. And that's something that Lost, I think, is realizing that, when it comes down to it, you look at Massimo with Tyreek Hill and Waddle, and now we got Cam Akers rolling in the offseason. And then you have Bill, who's, been pretty solid most of the year for the last couple of years, getting to the AFC Championship game twice now. And then Kobe just being, or actually he doesn't twice. He was 1 game away from being in the, but yeah, and then Kobe, obviously taking over the Jets. We knew that was going to be, a staple there. So 3 teams that really, obviously can move the ball and trying to get the ball back into your offensive hands. I'm surprised that the Vikings just took a quarterback. I'm interested to see how he is.
Well, we didn't get the ahs, so evidently he's not super happy with him.
He's not like super great, but I'm also preparing, after this season, my backup's going to be out, so getting rid of him, so I'm preparing now. 90 throw power, 80 speed, 85 change of direction. He's more of a little bit of a scrambler, but he's also got enough throw power to get the ball out there, and he's got a really good deep throw rating or medium accuracy of A. So I'm curious to see what that skill, because it's not showing up, but usually those are within the mid 70s, high 70s. So
Jamar Little, left tackle out of USC, is going to go over and help Meek Boy. What are we expecting from Seattle? Red hot start, cooled off later in the season. What are you guys expecting to see from Seattle?
I think Meek will obviously be back in the mix, but it's not going to change at the top. D-Money's still going to hold on to that division. And as we just talked earlier in the draft show, we already know that D-Money just got a 99 speed receiver, so that's only going to make things worse.
I still can't believe that.
And I get the first experience of it.
That game may go down to be 50 to 49 or something.
Nick, there's my reward for when I go in at my first week of the regular season. 99 speed receiver.
Whatever. You just get a little taste of your own medicine. Jeremiah Blackwell left in at a UCLA, going to go help Kevin in the Tampa Bay Bucks. I love that pick for you, Kevin. I mean, I hate it because I got to face him, but I really like that pick, especially here in the third round.
Yeah, I think Kev's quietly having a good draft. He's had some solid picks coming off the board.
Craig Johansson, who sounds like he should be in a boy band somewhere, center out of Central Michigan. He's going to go help the Arizona Cardinals. Remind me, because so much has happened. I'm drawing a total blank. Who took over Arizona? Is that our new friend?
That is Deep.
Deep, yeah. Okay.
Hey, look in the bottom right corner.
Deep in the gap. Oh yeah, true. Sorry. Trey's just got all the answers tonight. Deep in the gap.
I'm seeing it because of smoke.
Yeah, I didn't even think of looking there. I got 19 things going on over here. I'm trying to pay attention to. Didn't even hit me to look down there. We got Pepper back up with his Chargers, then over to the Kansas City Chiefs, who I'm not noticing a lot of picks. Maybe there have been, I just haven't noticed. So it seems like he hasn't had a ton of picks. Over to Carolina, who's looking to take back the NFC.
First.
No. He had one earlier because I remember we said he reached. He had a player that wasn't even on my draft board. Jamal Jett, what a great name. Right in out of Stanford. He's going to go help Pepper out. Kansas City Chiefs, Carolina Panthers, Houston Texans, Nipple, and the Ravens. Back to Houston. Houston with all these like back-to-back picks. And then Browns and Saints.
I think Houston has like 12 total picks in the draft. Maybe 13. I'm not
14.
14.
14 picks.
AJ Mason, another guy that did not make my top 120 list here. Kansas City taking a bunch of guys that I don't even have on my list.
Yeah, I think there's another defensive tackle that I had on my short list that was not named this dude right here.
Is this Dallas's first pick coming up? I don't recall seeing a Dallas pick until just now. What?
He had one pick earlier, I think.
Okay. What did Dallas do? My guy Dwayne does not enjoy the draft, I don't think, because he's never here. He trades away his picks. He does all he can. Ooh, I like that pick for the Houston Texans. Talk about Elton Brath as I skip this Nipples pick. I said it before you told me to.
324, 90 strength, 68 speed. A's and B's and all the flops. The only thing is he's got a shit injury level of C to F, so.
Kyle Harvin, defensive tackle out of Mississippi State. Back to the Houston Texans, Browns, Saints, Cowboys, Browns, Bengals. And we're coming to the end of the third round here. Things are going pretty smooth after a little bit of a rough start. Big guys still coming off the board here. Guys, is there a specific position group, position that you see a run happening here late in the fourth, fifth rounds?
There's a whole bunch of running backs, like I'm coming right on the verge of being top 5. Whole crap load of them.
Yeah, I think there's some good value in the running backs coming up. That I think some's going to find some future starter, possibly, or the guy that fills in on third downs or whatever. But there is some guys coming up that are intriguing in the running back position.
Michael Chapman, free safety out of Stanford, going to go help Mr. Roger and his Houston Texans, as Raj is just taking kind of best player available, and it's a good place to be whenever you can just kind of take best player available.
Makes life easier. A lot less decisions to make.
That does make it a little easier.
I mean, it's all depth from here.
The other good thing about having 14 picks is if you miss, you know you got another pick coming right back up. So
Exactly. I whiffed a couple times, but that's okay.
Seeing as he
Unlike
built
myself, I've
built
had
the
two picks
draft
so far, and I feel like I've missed on both of them. So
Well, seeing as he built the draft, I always enjoy it whenever he whiffs because it shows that no one's cheating here.
Somebody has to come up with some of these kick-ass names.
Don't worry, I saw
like
a name
Nate's
in here.
favorite, Dion Prime.
Oh, I still hate that one.
Don't worry, Rush. I found a name in this trail class, and I'm wondering if it was an edit by you or if it was actually just a generated name.
What's the name?
Oh man,
There just so happens to be an undrafted quarterback from Anthony.
you're cutting it in up.
What?
There just so happens to be a
Undrafted quarterback.
quarterback.
Oliver Richardson? Yeah, that was me. I did that.
Yes.
I made him a shit pile. Yeah, that was all me. A solid pick.
Yeah, not too bad. I don't hate it. 95 speed, 98 acceleration. Normal dev.
How do you hate that?
Well, that was quick.
Ooh, a quarterback, Addison Conroy, going over to the Dallas Cowboys, who I think very underratedly, I don't know if y'all remember this, but I think it was 1 or 2 Madden cycles ago, drafted like a guy in like the 4th or 5th round who was a starter. He sucked for 1 season, but after that, got him into the playoffs. Like, he built this dude out of nowhere. So this might be a guy that we got to keep our eyes on. What a great name.
Yeah, I think the
He's only
guy he
got one
drafted was
quarterback
like
on
a
his roster with
57
Decker.
overall or something.
You're right. This might be the best name of the draft, though. Deacon Payne, a right end out of Troy, going to go over and help Denver.
Love the name. Hope I don't see it too much.
The Cincinnati Bengals, Atlanta Falcons, Packers, Jets, Texans. My goodness, said that name a lot. And the Commanders. Don't worry, Bird. We won't skip you. We know you're here. And should be a really good one as we come here to the end of the 3rd round. Any surprises, guys, as we come to the end of the 3rd round?
I don't know if we've seen any surprises. I think there's been a few reaches, but guys have hit on a few of those reaches by doing some of their homework. But like you said, the surprises to me really would be like someone top end that fell, kind of like Snoop last year or last draft. We haven't really had that simply because I feel like those first 4, 5, 6 picks were, those guys. And then from there on out, it was, you pick your guy that you like or you feel like you like. And there was just a lot of depth in the line, a lot of depth in the D-line, a lot of depth in the safety position, even in the linebacker position. But there was nothing that was like just outright over the top, like this guy is going to be, the guy. And so with that being said, the surprises to me have been less because of that.
A little surprised at the quarterbacks. Super, super top heavy. 1, 2 guys that I thought were definitely worth early picks. But as we've progressed here in the second and third, we've seen a couple other guys come off the board. That's been a little surprising to me.
I'm surprised that the Falcons just took another safety because they just had Atwater.
Yeah, Derek Allen out of Florida, free safety.
Strong though, so they can.
Not the top safety. I had a guy way above that I think could be a starter from day one. I didn't even have that guy on my list. Jason Parks out of LSU. Always upset when I can't get an LSU player. This guy was on my board, and one of the dudes I hope was going to fall. So really good pick there for Mr. Priest.
Rhodes.
Left in out of Notre Dame.
And his fourth pick in the third round coming up, and then his fifth pick and 2 picks in the third round.
Texans, Commanders, Texans, Dolphins, Lions, and Falcons, as we are almost to the end of the third.
Rodgers not only filling his team. Yes, it is. Rodgers not only filling his team, but he's also getting his entire practice squad with these 14 picks.
Yeah.
I like it, Raj. Save time. It's a good thing, though, when your draft picks can go to your practice squad. When some of your draft picks, of course, you don't want all of them to go there. Bird
just said, by the way,
I
the
see
Commanders
it.
are
I
out
see it.
Sim
Bird,
on
I
pick.
hate you right now. I just want you to know that, Bird. You're becoming a pain tonight.
Come on, Bird.
I'm just picking Bird. I don't hate you. He's going to play with his boy Pooty, I'm sure. That's where Kevin is, too, I'm sure.
I just saw Jay Glaze.
No, I'm still here, sir.
G up on the block.
You're not shooting nobody?
I'm gonna do one more pick, then I'm gonna go shoot somebody.
Yeah, see? I knew it was coming. Ronald Little, halfback out of Vanderbilt.
Duval disappeared too.
I'm kind of scared. I know it is, but I'm nervous because he just said he's out, but he's in chat, but it's his pick. Like, I don't know if he was being serious or not serious, so I'm a little nervous about simming this
Shows
pick.
him on PUBG.
He's not on
Okay,
that.
all right, all
He's
right,
not on
Birds
that.
on PUBG.
all right. Skipped. I heard y'all.
Nothing like it.
You got a punter.
Punter.
He actually got my number 1 rated guy out there, Mark Lincoln, wide receiver out of Clemson. He's going to go help the Commanders. I got a safety, kicker, a guard, a strong safety, and a punter in my top 5. And I used my fingers so I didn't go over top 5 and get yelled at by Trey. So hopefully I didn't announce 5 guys there. We got the Texans they just picked. We got the Dolphins, Lions, Falcons, Steelers, Jags, Titans. So we come to an end of the third. George Norton, he sounds like he should be selling computer software somewhere. T.R. Burton.
T.R. Burton.
Ooh, I like that pick. That was a guy I was also hoping would fall. Very good pick for Massimo.
I mean, he shares the same last name.
Golly. As a very, very, very good player. Cameron Reese, fullback. I like that pick as well. It was my 35th rank. Don't get too excited about a fullback, okay? That just gets annoying. It's a fullback. Chill out. Calm your tits. It's a fullback, okay? Ah, these champions, man. These champions, my gosh.
88 speed and depth.
Hey, if you guys ever want to know what Trey's draft board looks like, just go through the entire Madden list and write down every fast guy and just number them. That'll be Trey's draft board.
Hey, I took a 63 speed defensive tackle first, okay?
It's a defensive tackle. Speed doesn't matter there. Cameron Reese, fullback out of Alabama, gonna go help out Trey.
Yeah, I got to do it for all the Alabama guys.
We're moving into the 4th round here. We will start taking some interviews, and so if you would like to be interviewed about your team, feel free to let Mr. Trey know, and we will go ahead and bring you on. Geo Tate William and Mary, middle linebacker. I like that kid as well. He's going to go help the Atlanta Falcons as they invest into some of those backup linebackers and try to rebuild some speed there on defense.
A+ on the name, that's for sure.
Falcons, number one pick. I think he's done a really good draft. Yeah, he's had a really good plan, and I think he's done a great job here.
Quarterback.
Denver Roth, another really great name. He's going to go help out the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Madden had him listed as like the 3rd or 4th or 5th quarterback in the draft. I think he did have a little bit of knock on him, I think, for being under pressure. When he's under pressure, he throws erratic or whatever. I think that was one of the knocks on him, and then just bad accuracy, I think, on some of the medium throws. But kind of curious to see what his overall is.
I still feel like there's a quarterback out there that's worth drafting. Bit of a project, but I still think there's a really good quarterback that somebody's going to pick up here in the 4th or 5th round. Jaguars, Titans, Vikings, Rams, Broncos, Patriots, already here in the 4th round of OMFL draft number 105.
4th round. It's going pretty smooth. Most of the picks are coming off the board, and those that are in the game ready to pick, they're kind of on the ball with it for the most part.
Did Duvall fall asleep? Looks like he missed his pick there.
Strong safety.
Duvall left your chat, so I guess he's gone.
Oh, okay. I do like that pick, though. It was my number 1 rated player still on the board. Deontay Lawrence, strong safety out of Texas A&M. We have not seen, I don't recall at least, we have not seen a first special teams guy, kicker or punter, come off the board yet.
Titans are here.
Yeah.
Left guard.
No, is Maniac still here?
No, I think he left. So. I still got.
I really like that pick
players
for the Titans. This is now a couple picks here in a row. He was on my list to hope the fall Florida State kid. Going to go help the Tennessee Titans as they invest into some of that offensive line. It's been a long time because I've been a commissioner since I've missed a draft. But that's one of those crapshoots of like log in and just see, who'd I get? What'd I get? We did have that sim draft a couple Maddens ago, a couple seasons ago. The last one I think of 22, I think it was, or 21. I don't know. It was one of the last drafts that simmed itself.
The first one of 23.
And
that was Trey's favorite draft.
Yeah.
It did, yeah, but there was also the last one of 22 because we went ahead and it automatically simmed itself. And that was the same thing of like, who'd I get? I forgot that it also did it in 23 as well. Cliff Leak, center out of Arizona. He's going to go over. Oh my gosh. You guys are so annoying.
Are you clapping?
He was clapping.
Hidden Dev.
There you go.
Strength. Yeah, this guy's he's 22 and he's got all the makings to possibly be a future starting center for the Vikings here going forward.
Got the face of a bulldog though. 85 strength would worry me a little bit, but being a hidden depth definitely gives him some potential. We got Rams, Broncos, Patriots, Eagles, Seahawks, Raiders, Bucks, Taylor Porter, another tight end off the board there. My guy's got one receiver and he's drafting tight ends.
He's got a plan.
He does have a plan. James Gardner, wide receiver.
Tight end or receiver.
Wide receiver out of New Mexico State is going to go over to Jay Glaze. He's probably like 99 speed or something crazy like that. Now we're rolling through some picks. Dante West, left outside linebacker out of Charleston Southern.
Yeah, he was another one that I had on my short list.
Not here.
The Eagles are not.
You can send Nate.
We've seen Lost invest heavily in the defense. I feel like that's maybe all he's picked so far today. Rodney Rainey.
Yeah, I think he's tired of getting run over.
What a name. Cornerback out of Minnesota. He's going over to the Philadelphia Eagles.
That could be either a good omen or a bad omen. It's rainy for Rodney, or Rodney's bringing the rain. I don't know.
My number one, my number one player on the draft board is a kicker. Who's the first team? My gosh, here water went down the wrong hole. Who's the first team take a special teams player?
I say Texans since they've had so many picks.
I don't need it. I'm drafting mine in the first draft.
I'm giving you a hard time because I know you're still in the chat. So
I'm just hanging out.
Brandon Kyle, left guard out of North Dakota. He's going over to Seattle. Raj, give me your top 5 left.
Let's see here. Top 5 left. Right guard red.
Don't say it yet. Don't say it yet. Wait. No.
Punter Chalmers. Halfback Perry. Halfback Jennings.
And with
Last
that, we have our
last draft, you announced it, and 3 of my picks that I had, I was about 6-7 picks out. You announced them, and 3 of my picks were in your top 5, and they all got taken before us. That's why I was like, don't wait, because I'm coming up in like 5-7 picks, 6
That's
picks.
the worst.
We have our first interview, Nate.
Who do we have?
And of course, we've got the entire NFC North in the chat. Let's go. Priest,
jeez.
we got the last place NFC North team. Finally, first interview. Let's go. Let's hear it.
Is this Priest? Is that who we're talking about?
What's up, Nate?
What's up, Priest? I'm so confused by what's going on in this chat right now. Priest, welcome to the show, my guy. Your team last season, man, kind of a little up and down, a little all over, but a spectacular season from Roger. Does Roger have anything left in the tank?
You say Roger?
Rogers, same thing.
Aaron Rodgers.
Rodgers.
Oh, nah, he's 41. He's 90 overall still, so hopefully he can still sling it. But we'll be concentrating on Clancy for sure.
How much
Damn you, Kevin.
Percy Smallwood, what a great name. How much does your running back have to carry this team? Like, is he the guy? Is he going to be the workhorse?
I'd probably say at least 75%. Yeah, and then Hardman. Hopefully we can match his 19 TDs from last season.
You know it's bad when you said Rodgers and he doesn't even realize that. That is a problem.
Priest, how do you rate your offseason? Free agency, early draft. We're about halfway here through the fourth quarter. Golly, y'all, I need a nap. 4th round. How do you rate your offseason?
It's the 4th quarter of the offseason.
Well, I lost all my defensive tackles, so I went and picked up Lindsey, brought him back to Cheesetown. I picked up 3 defensive tackles in free agency. I'm just going to rotate them through. Hopefully that works. And then I added another 90 overall free safety and CJ Gardner-Johnson from you to beef my defense up.
What's it going to take for the Packers to win that division, which has gotten tremendously harder with the addition of Maniac now?
Let my defense win the game. No turnovers. That's how you win it.
Guys, what do you have for our friend Priest?
I got a couple questions for you.
Go ahead.
First, I'm going to start off right with the gun in the fire. You tell me what you got here. I want you to predict and rank the 4 teams in order who was going to finish first and second, third, and fourth? Just out of curiosity.
In our division?
In our division.
Well, I got to give Lions first because he won the Super Bowl, and he's always there. So Lions, Packers, Vikings, Bears.
Bears and 4.
Holy shit.
But hey, time out. Everybody calm down. Somebody had to go last. Somebody's got to get picked last. So, like, there's no good answer there. Yeah, y'all set that man up.
Hey, I'm not. I was just curious what he had. I wasn't trying to set him up.
So who's y'all's first game? Is it Bears versus the Packers?
No, it's Bears and Panthers.
All right, let's get this thing focused again. What else we have from Priest?
I do have another question.
It's your
but here
pick.
I'm
You know that,
picking,
right?
So I'll let somebody else know. I'll
okay.
come back to you. Yep, I'm picking now.
Hey, Priest, it's Maniac.
What's up, brother?
So like, what was your thoughts going into the draft? What were you trying to address? Like, what was your number one thing to address in the draft?
My team's pretty much set. I went wide receiver there fast just to get maybe a kick return burner. But my team's pretty set from last year, so we'll see what happens.
I'm sorry, I gotta laugh. I drafted a kick returner. We all know we did not try to draft a kick returner, okay?
A slot kick returner shit.
Priest, what's the one thing?
Top off there.
What's the one thing you're hoping to get as we come to the end of the 4th and 5th and 6th round here?
I need depth at defensive end. I already grabbed one, so I'm hoping to grab a couple more there. Some fillers.
Champion, I know you got to have a question for our guy Priest.
I do.
I do.
You started off hot, and then
I'll pick a different one.
you started off hot, and
You already said.
And
it's like the 5th time you said this. Pick something else. This question.
I haven't asked my question. Thank you.
Go for it, Trey.
Thank you very freaking much. What are you going to do to ship so you actually have a good second half and can make the play?
Well, I started off. What happened? My phone died.
No, you're good. I think his is cutting out on him.
I started off strong, and I lost. I think it was week 5 or 6. I lost Hardman. Then I lost a right tackle and a guard, and then a defenseman. I'm not blaming it on injuries, but you do need to have somewhat kind of backup. So I addressed that a bit this offseason too, is having backups to my starters. But that was kind of the key factor last season.
So as I was saying earlier, I had a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I do have another question. So I'm looking at your schedule and start your season off with the Commanders, which is a new owner in Bird. I think Bird, from my previous experience in playing, is a solid game manager, play caller. Obviously in Arizona he had some troubles, but taking over a new team, obviously you know nothing about him in Washington. He's taking over a brand new team, going to be feeling things out. But then you go and play Kevin on the road. So you actually start your season off with 2 road games, and then you have the Seahawks and the Cowboys. Then you roll into your division with the Vikings and the Bears. What do you see as challenge, or where do you see yourself rolling into that bye week at week 7?
You kind of cut out what question? What'd you ask me? I cut out when you were talking there.
He's actually being serious, like you did cut out. So.
Yeah, my bad. I went to cough and I hit the mute button. I didn't realize that I muted. Was trying not to cough in you guys' ears and on the mic. But what I was just saying is, what do you see as challenges with your team within the first 6 weeks? Like I said, you've got a new owner in Bird, and then Kevin, who's trying to kind of bounce back. 2 years ago had a really good season. Last year he was struggling. And then Meek, who started strong and then kind of fell off. But then you got the Cowboys, the Vikings, and the Bears. What do you see as challenges to get through those first 6 weeks and then rolling into your bye week?
Hopefully I start off strong again. fuck, if I don't, I'll be lucky if I hit 500. Yeah, my schedule, I just looked it over. It looks pretty tough, but a lot of fun games that are being had. But again, hopefully I start off strong. I could be 0-6.
What do you think? What's the magic number of wins that it's going to take to win the division?
Usually, I think Lions usually hovers around 12 to 13. So if you can get to 11, I think you're at least going to make a playoff. But you got there with 10 last season, so I guess 10,
Yeah.
10 the wild card, hopefully.
I snuck in with 10, but it was not by.
Hey,
I think the Panthers. So, yeah, nice pick there, Nate. So yeah, I'm curious to see what kind of. I know you kind of shuffled some things around. We were talking about it a little bit. What do you think is the biggest loss to your team this offseason from last year?
Biggest loss. Probably would have been my center and my defensive tackles, but I filled it back up with even better players. I think Lindsey's a better player than I had there before. I think I had Myers, which was a 74 all center, so hopefully Lindsey can step in and be the number one center for the Packers this season.
Yeah, I'm looking at your line. I mean, you got a pretty strong line. Obviously, gonna need it with a older quarterback, but and that also opens up that run game for you. But Bakari and then Elgton Jenkins and Lindsey's 90s from left to right there, and then your right guard John Runyon, 80 overall, and then you have Zach Thomas, kind of the younger guy. But a strong line there. I know last season when I played you, your D line dominated my O line. Carlos Anderson was something else. Do you feel like that's going to be the case again this season?
Yeah, like my defense, I just added more to it, so hopefully it keeps bringing the pressure. I think he finished with like 19.5 sacks last season. I did add a couple of veterans to my halfback. My halfbacks this year behind Clancy, we picked up Melvin Gordon and Lindsey. So hopefully the old halfbacks can lean on the rookies.
Is there anybody in the free agency that you missed out on that you wanted? That's my final question.
Yeah, that right end that the Lions got, of course. There was like 17 of us trying to get him.
There was.
Yeah. I would.
Priest, I got one for you.
You already had one. You could get
Be nice to each other, y'all.
Funny. Are you going to just bet this offseason?
What's your question?
Oh boy.
Are you going to make an outrageous bet this offseason?
What's that bet?
Well, last draft class you went on, Corey, that you'd go, I think, what, 5-0?
Yeah, I'll be lucky if
Five is gonna be 5-1 through his first six.
be lucky if I'm 500 in my first six. That's pulling it.
Well, Priest, before you get out of here, Lions, it's your pick. Before you get out of here, I do have a question, a serious question. And let me first, well, I'll do that after my question. There's our first kicker or first special teams guy off the board. He was my number one rated guy that was still on the board. Last season, I feel like a big portion of what turned things around for you and made you one of the upper top of the NFC was the quarterback play, keeping those interceptions down. Is that something that you think you can continue as we move into season 105?
Yeah, for sure. I kind of tilted near the end, just making stupid throws. Those throws that they look open, but they're not. You just got to take the sack, and I think I've been doing better with that.
Well, Priest, you're one of my favorite guys here, man. I'm pulling for you. I think that your division is going to be outstanding this season. We've got Maniac over there now. You've got the champion over there now. I think you're going to have a really good team, and we know what Big Hurt can do as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a good ride.
Yep, should be a ton of fun. Well, there you have it. Mr. Priest of the Green Bay Packers joining us here tonight to talk about his team And it's going to be a ton of fun. I love it when Priest comes and jumps on with us. So make sure to let Trey know if you guys want to do the same. Come hang out with us. And I want to give a little flowers to some folks real quick. I've got a couple of messages over the last probably month or two, just talking about the different people that have been on the show with me and that helped me do press pass lives or call games or whatnot. And Cincy Berg and Maniac, even before he joined here, but Maniac always created content. But Cincy Berg and Big Hurt have tried really, really hard, even with busy schedules, to step up and make content. And so I wanted to give a shout out to both of them. Maniac for being on all of the shows. Trey has been a standard here with me now on Press Pass Live for quite some time, but also some specific just flowers to Big Hurt. I get a couple of messages usually after some shows just talking about how well prepared and how well spoken you are, Big Hurt, and I appreciate just the time and the energy in making content for the OMFL and for grown folks. So just want to pause really quick and give you a shout out and say that I appreciate the content from all of you, and appreciate you being here with me tonight. Dorian Barber, right tackle out of Penn State. He's going over to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we're kind of getting to, I don't know, I've got like 40-ish players that are here left on my draft board. So we're running through them. I know I can skip this, but let me just try to find this guy really fast. Okay. Let me just delete him, and then I'll skip.
On that note, I appreciate you acknowledging that, and also I want to say I appreciate the guys listening in. I mean, I can put the show out there, but if no one listens, it is what it is. But I appreciate everybody taking the time listening and, recognizing that, we're just doing content. And honestly, the same with Nate. I know he'll say the same thing. The show is for you guys. It's for the league. I enjoy it, but without you guys listening, it wouldn't be anything. And I always am open ears. So if you guys have anything that you would like me to just talk about or discuss or mention, or if somebody wants to join us, I'm still in the process of trying to figure out the whole mic setup a little bit. But I'm happy to bring somebody on. I know Maniac was itching to, get involved as much as he could, and as he was trying to get back in the OMFL, and now he is. But yeah, I mean, if you guys have the itch to join us, we can always have a special guest. So it's just something that me and Cincy have enjoyed doing and talking about the league and what we have here in the OMFL. And I've said it a million times,
It made me leave the Discord chat for some reason, so unfortunately we're missing what he had to say. But let me rejoin this bad boy really quick. My guy's still talking.
It's made a comment. I've been in a million leagues, and I have, and there's no other league like this. And I have another league that I enjoy playing. I've been in for a while, but this is my only league right now because that league's actually, with all the stuff that's happened this year, they've shut it down. So I'm enjoying the OMFL and the content. And like I said, if you guys got stuff you want to throw in, reach out, and I'd be happy to add it, talk about it, cover it, or even add you into it if you'd like.
Yeah, just to give you and Cincy and Maniac props, you guys is a very different style to what Nate runs and how I've come in and helped with Nate through the cycle. It's nice having it's almost like you have First Take with one side and then you have Sports Center. It's kind of cool having those two different outlooks and varieties.
Yeah, I agree. Guys, question for the group.
Like I said, I appreciate it.
Question for the group real quick. Where in an average draft for you do things begin to switch? Where in the draft do you start kind of just looking for fillers or taking flyers or maybe even just guys that you think you can build? When does that start to happen? I know every draft is different. Every team is different. Your needs are different. But an average, when does that start to happen for you?
I would say, for me, the first 2-3 rounds, I'm looking for guys that can kind of fill in and start, or at least be, like a third down pass rusher or something like that. But really, kind of that third, fourth round, it kind of turns gears for me. It's more of a depth or like a return guy that can maybe get some, time at the return spot, but become a receiver or become a cornerback as he progresses. Or even getting like a kicker or punter if we need one. But that can change. Sometimes if I need a few more spots, then I go 3, 4, or 5 rounds, and then that 5th, 6th round is kind of when I start to look for that special flyer or, specialty guy type of thing. But that just, like you said, it just depends on how deep in the draft I need to go to fill the roster, and how many spots are needed. But typically on an average draft, I would say the first 3 rounds are kind of, let's try and get guys that can be starters or be, majority of the game players. That has not happened in this draft for me. I mean, I'm gonna have a couple guys that play, but I've not hit where I've wanted to. So.
I give all these flowers before everybody else answers. I give all these flowers to Big Hurt, and then I open up Discord because my phone's fully charged and I can open up Discord, and I hate you for that photo.
The funny thing is that photo was taken in the bowl game when Massimo shanked that field goal. Oh, yeah. And I went back and I was like, this would be an epic photo for one of your little clip art things. And then I was like, I gotta send Nate the video. And then Maniac says at the beginning of the draft, he's like, that'd be, and I was like, that's what I was gonna send it to him for. Because one of your little clip art photos where you're just like, that would be like an epic photo. And I have not shared it with anybody but you or Maniac, because we were literally watching the draft or the bowl game together. And
I think it was Outlaw a couple Maddens ago now that clipped me doing something stupid on one of my streams or whatever, and it ended up becoming like a meme that he thought was funny to post from time to time. So maybe that's another meme. Okay.
Now that you shared that I sent you that, now that you have shared with the league on your draft show that I've sent you that video, is it going to be me or you that shares that picture with the whole league?
It won't be me. I can tell you that. I got enough self-image issues. I don't need to be seeing that thing. We haven't talked draft in quite some time. Devon Bass, tight end out of San Diego State. He's going over the Seattle Seahawks. I think my shift begins to happen in the 4th round. Usually the first 3 rounds, I'm trying to get starters or like potential starters or guys that could take over in a season, right? Like I want those first 3 rounds to count. Start to get to round 4, I'm starting to think special teams, special roles, when we start thinking fullbacks or we start thinking extra offensive linemen for goal line, we start thinking return men, like that starts happening for me in the 4th round. What about you guys?
Yeah, about 4.
I'll say, like, for me, it depends on what happens with the first 3 rounds. If I hit on some good players on the first 3 rounds, and I'm like, okay, then I start feeling. But if I have a need and I haven't really hit, then I start like really digging, like to try to find at least serviceable players to fill in that gap that I need. But usually for me, it's the 4th or 5th round that's when I start taking just the fastest guy at a certain position or the strongest guy at a defensive line or offensive line, or I start looking at the tight end that can block, for the 3 tight ends for the goal line situation, those type of things. That's when, so really like 5th round is like when I start saying, okay, this is where I find my special depth for my team that, could possibly find a difference maker.
Nate, we've got another interview line.
Sweet. Who do we have?
We've got the newly owned Pittsburgh Steelers and Penguins.
There we go. Mr. Penguins of the Pittsburgh Steelers going back home. I don't know if that's really his home, but that's where I recall him having. He and I don't know if you remember this, Penguins, but you built that Steelers team and were on quite the roll back in Madden 19 or 20. I don't know, somewhere in there, maybe even 18. It's been that long ago. And you came down to the Superdome, and you and I had an instant classic. May even be in the instant classic vault that went down to like a goal line stand. Just an epic game. And when I think about you and your Pittsburgh Steelers and what you had built over there, that's the game that I really begin to think about. Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tell us a little bit about the initial reactions to that team and taking them over.
I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, it looks pretty rough on the surface, but I don't think he left me in too rough a shape.
What are the spots that you knew going into this offseason that you really needed to focus on?
I knew he was missing a few pieces on offensive line, but I think a lot of us, are missing pieces there. He could have had a better quarterback, but it's not the worst in the world. Other than that, I mean, I didn't see anything else major. He had a couple contracts that I was wondering how he even remotely managed to sign, but other than that, I mean, piece-wise, he was in decent shape.
I mean, you should have like 9 quarterbacks to choose from over there. He was trading and drafting quarterbacks every single season, trying to figure out. Known for Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't know what he was doing with that rotisserie at quarterback, because when I came over, he still had Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
But he had Trubisky going out on the last year. He had Kenny Pickett with 1 year left with very easy, $3 million in savings to cut a guy with no arm strength at all. And I think he got rid of somebody else before I came, but I didn't know who.
Guys, what do we have for Penguins?
I have a couple questions, but I'm coming up with my next pick here. So if somebody wants to take
Penguins.
I've
got a couple. I got a couple more. I hate when I do all the talking here, but what was the plan moving into Pittsburgh with the quarterback situation?
There was a plan A, plan B, or plan C, because there was a lot of different plans. I tried to shop number 2 in field offers, and we got a lot of different feedback and offers, but nothing really materialized for a variety of different reasons, whether it was just trade value not coming to terms, or guys changing their mind, or free agency results. It just didn't materialize to trade it. So at one point it was trade 2 and build around a good piece and use free agency. Then it turned into, okay, we're going to pick it 2 and use free agency and go from there. Then it maybe get a little bit extra draft picks, and then we didn't hit the Powerball in free agency, and so now we ended up with plan C, trying to have a good draft and go from there and work around some other pieces. So we've kind of had to run through a couple different options based off just how things roll out.
What's going to be the strength of the Steelers moving into season 105?
I think we're going to have a really good defense, and I think we'll still be solid offensively. We lost a couple pieces, and like I said, we didn't hit in free agency. But a lot of guys were in on the same guys, so I'm not the only one in that boat that didn't win the lottery on a couple of those big name guys. So I think it'll be a good team. I think quarterback will be the question, but I think we'll move the ball fine. I think we got good pieces. We had a decent draft too, some good pieces there, and defensively all left me in fine shape. So I think it'll be fun. It's a tough schedule though.
Hey, Penguins, it's Maniac. Got a question for you. Going from the NFC East over to the AFC North, what's something similar between the different divisions, and then also what's different about those divisions?
Playing Colin and Wayne, and that division's always tough. I think it prepares you for a lot of different game plans playing in that division. Coming over here, Koch and Denbrew kind of pose the similar threats, just with different teams. And when Mikey's in, Mikey's a tough game as well. Just depends if he's plugged in or not. But for me, it's a pretty similar setup for division-wise. I'm expecting a lot of tough games. I'm expecting to have to fight to stay towards the top and get a playoff spot out of the AFC. But I think overall, like you guys mentioned earlier, we've had a couple moves into the AFC with Kobe coming back to the AFC and now me. And I think we're starting to see it balance out a bit. And then you saw Massimo go to the Bowl. So I think the AFC is starting to gain some traction where we were NFC heavy for a while.
All right.
Hey Penguins, this is Hurt. Now that I've made my pick here, I just wanted to jump in. You and I were in trade talks. You kind of mentioned about shopping number 2, and simply, I think we ran into kind of a roadblock simply on cap penalties on my end with the issue. But how did you end up not trading that pick? Yeah, I was really kind of hoping for it to work out, but with that not taking place and then you holding on to the number 2 pick, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like now that in hindsight that you held on to number 2 pick, you got the guy that you took, would you have rather still made the move, or are you like now glad that you held on to that pick?
I think it depends on a case-to-case basis. I had probably around 8 to 10 owners put in offers and probably had a couple other discussions around that didn't really materialize into offers. So I think hindsight being 2020, I think in some cases, like you spoke to our situation, I think if it was our situation, I think I still probably would have took our deal. I think maybe there was 1 or 2 other offers. Probably definitely 1 I would have took as well. But other than that, the rest of the offers aside, I don't think I really would have valued as high as the quality I got out of the pick. I got a pretty good player, and I got a guy that I know is going to step in and contribute pretty well right off the jump. So I'd say probably only 2, maybe 3 offers really swayed me enough to look at it with hindsight regret. But overall, I'm pretty content with it. I've never really picked this high, so it was a little bit of a strange circumstance for me.
Yeah, that was kind of being one of my other questions is, typically you're not picking in the top 5 or 10 or even 15. So it was kind of uncharted territory for you. But with that being said, I mean, switching over from the Commanders team to the Steelers team, what do you see as the biggest plus side of things taking over the Steelers team that the Commanders didn't do for you or didn't have? And what do you see as the biggest challenge?
I think the Steelers have a couple different pieces on linebacker that I didn't have. I was a little bit raw around the edges at linebacker. I had decent guys, but the Steelers are definitely an upgrade there. Defensive line, the Steelers have a couple just equally as good pieces, but they had a few retirements too when I came over, and a few guys decided to hang them up, so that was a little bit of a disappointment. But overall, I think quarterback two is definitely better than Zach Wilson in my opinion, so we'll see how that one materializes. But overall, I think the Commanders were built to win now, and the Steelers are still missing a few things, so we'll see how that goes. But I feel all right about it for now. We'll see.
So with you saying that the Steelers are missing, do you expect to jump in and compete for the AFC North title right away out of the gate? Or are you kind of, obviously that's the end goal, but do you feel like you can compete right away, or do you feel like you're maybe a season or 2 out?
I think I can compete right away. I don't think I would challenge myself necessarily to think that winning a division title this first season is realistic. I'm obviously going to push for it, and I obviously think that it's a possibility, but I'm not going to be disappointed if it doesn't happen. I think the realistic goal this season is to at least contend for a playoff spot out of the wild card or something like that. And I think if we can nail that down, I'll be content with that. We still have, another round of free agency with the guys that didn't make the cut the first time around. So you never know what happens there. Maybe you snag a couple more veterans and add a little bit more into the mix, and, you go from there. So
absolutely. What is the one opponent in the AFC North between Mikey, Koch, and Denbrew? What do you feel? Nice pick, Nate. There. What do you feel like, or who is going to be the, the rival with you? I know the Steelers and Ravens or Bengals. You guys all have kind of rivalries in real life, but within the OMFL, who do you think is going to be your biggest rivalry or challenge?
I think Denver is going to be the toughest games. I think that's going to be the one game, 2 games every year that is going to really put the division set in stone, so to speak. I think he's a really smart player. He's got a lot of knowledge about the game. He builds really good teams as well, so I think he and I are probably going to have the most competitive games. Like I said, when Mikey's plugged in, you get a lot of really good games out of him as well, but it's hard when he's not plugged in. I think sometimes he misses out on some team building opportunities, and when he's not plugged in, he's not trading either, so he's not really actively putting a lot back into the team. But when he is, he's doing everything. So it's hard to say that Mikey and I are gonna have good games because I don't know really season to season what I'm getting there. But definitely Koch and Denbrew and I will have good games. I'm expecting Denbrew to probably give me the biggest run for my money off the jump. I know the Bengals have a lot of cap like me right now, so they might be in a similar situation where they view themselves, trying to hang out for the division, maybe a wild card spot, and still trying to find a way to spend their extra money.
Yeah, that's interesting for you to say that because obviously Gotch was the division winner last year. Denver started off slow, kind of sped up towards the end, but Koch ended up with the 2 seed in the AFC, but then lost to Massimo in the first round. One thing I want to say is, I wish you the best of luck in the AFC North. Obviously, leading the NFC. Not going to say that I'm not going to lie. I'm happy that I have one less person through the gauntlet that I have to worry about. But then I obviously add Maniac within my division, so it is, lose one, take and get one. So, and I don't get to see the Commanders every season, and I got to face Maniac twice this season, so it's almost worse. But I wish you the best over in the AFC North. You've got a solid division, top to bottom. I always thought that the NFC East was one of the best divisions year in and year out with you, Colin, and D-Wayne, and I think Twinkie was not far from, being a really true competitor. But I'm interested to see what the AFC North is for you. Obviously playing with your favorite team in the Steelers, it's just different when you play with your team. And I think Fitzpatrick, and one question I do have, and I'll end it on this, are you leaving TJ Watt at defensive end, or are you moving him back to outside backer?
No, he's staying at defensive end. That's not a question. You'll never see me put him at linebacker. So long as I have this team in any Madden, you won't see me do that because I don't really believe in that philosophy. If you have a great pass rusher, he should be pass rushing every play. You shouldn't be putting him into coverage.
So you run a 4-3 or a 3-4?
A 4-3. I'm predominantly a 4-3 owner. That's more of a comfort level for me. I like 3-4, but
you've ran
really
3-4 in the past, haven't you?
Yeah, I played it when we had that instant classic game. Remember when we played
That's
that
what I
game?
thought.
It was like a Christmas tree.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, we were a 3-4 then just because I had so many pieces and I was just trying to build that crazy defense because that was back when Wayne had the Colts and it was feast or famine in terms of trying to stop them. So it was, just build with what you had, and it just kind of fit into a 3-4, but it really wasn't where I wanted to be. And that was also when we had rules about moving guys through positions because it would reset the abilities,
Yeah, which is why I thought that was a good question from Hurd about what you would do with Watt. I've got one before you get out of here as well, and that is you've been in both conferences, and you have not only been one of the top teams, but you have faced a lot of the top teams, whether it's in the regular season or when it really matters in the playoffs. Where do you think that with you moving to the AFC, it feels like a lot of that power has now balanced out, but where do you think really will be the top conference for season 105?
I still think the NFC is going to be a little bit more stronger than the AFC. I think Kobe put on a great showing this season, going pretty far. So I think he's really close to making that, deep run into the bowl that he almost got this time around. So, he's right there. Massimo's there. We have other pieces in the AFC, but you obviously still in the NFC, you have Maniac back. You have, D-Money. You have Wayne. You have Colin, who had a great free agency. You obviously have Trey. You have a lot of strong guys. You have yourself, who went pretty far, Nate. So you got a lot of pieces in the NFC, and you got a lot of guys in the AFC that are maybe missing one or two things, maybe missing a team piece here or there, maybe didn't hit it in free agency. So I think we're still scraping the bottom of the barrel for a couple more things to get there, but I think you guys are ready to fight to the death, so to speak.
Well, guys, there you have it. Penguins of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I've got one question.
Okay, well, he's up too, so
up on the clock, yeah.
That's all right. It's just depth picks at this point. I know where I'm going.
In the Commanders, you had Cook and Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones free agency. You brought him in. How do you feel Najee and Aaron for you in the backfield compared to Cook and Aaron Jones?
So the thing about Dalvin Cook and Aaron Jones versus having Najee Harris and Aaron Jones has always just been a solid all-around back for me. Priest was kind enough to move him to me pretty reasonably, and he's just been a solid complimentary back for me, and I was able to get him back in free agency for a pretty fair market value price. I think Maniac was the only other one in on him as well, so I'm sure he shares that opinion. Other than that, in terms of Najee versus Dalvin Cook, with our rules and, our passing limitations and, not being able to check down a lot, and we need to get the wide receiver in more than 50% of the time, it's hard, in my opinion, without abilities to get a lot out of a guy like Dalvin, because you can't check down to him a lot. You can't really pass to him a lot. You can't really feature him in an offense like you would a Christian McCaffrey type player in real life. Whereas Najee, yes, he can catch. Yes, he's a decent all-around back, but Najee's more of a running downhill type of guy with Aaron Jones complimenting him. I don't really need to worry about if I can't get him involved with the passing game or something like that. It's not the end of the world.
Do you like to change up your offense just a little bit now that you have more power and agile back compared to 2 agile backs?
I don't think we change up too much. I think it'll be more of a situational change. I think situationally things will change a little bit with my mindset. In certain situations, you might see Aaron Jones more. In certain situations, you might see Najee more. I think it just depends on the game, the situation, stuff like that. I don't see myself changing too much. I'm always changing playbooks. I'm always adding new things and taking things out, working through new options. But I think I don't stray too far from where I'm at. I was pretty comfortable with my effectiveness behind running the ball, and I think Najee will be fine. I used him before, so.
I know a lot of point was made last season towards the end when suspension came about how effective Gesicki is. You think Freiermuth can replace him in that sense?
Yeah, I think Freiermuth's pretty comparable to him. I think he's a little bit different of a tight end. They're both great catching tight ends. Freiermuth's a little bit less athletic, but he's a better run blocker, so that'll speak to that. Unfortunately, when we hit regression, I believe Outlaw drafted a tight end either the year before this one or the last draft. He drafted a tight end, and it was a pretty solid pick, but he regressed in development back to normal. So he's still a solid guy as well that I'll look to use, but got some work to do around regression. Regression wasn't kind to a team with a number 2 pick.
And do you feel that your wide receivers, do you have Pickens and... Go ahead.
He had one of, I think he drafted him, I'm not sure. He still left me with a high 80s overall wide receiver. He left me with Pickens. He left me with some youth as well. I still, like I said, I still have a lot of cap, like a lot of teams, so I'm sure I'll add to the wide receiver room at some point, one way or the other. I lost out on Deontay Johnson to free agency because I didn't want to pay the $25 million tag, and he really wasn't interested in re-signing because I came in so late. So I think we'll add to the room a little bit, but I think we'll still move the ball. Like I said, the biggest thing is that we're going to be able to move the ball accurately to them. If you can't get the ball to them, it won't matter.
Penguins, before you get out of here,
I have one last question.
Okay, I'm gonna come to you, Big Hurt, for the last question. I had one that, as you were saying something, I was like, oh, that's a really good point. And that is, we do not have the ability, I really like that pick there for New England, we do not have the ability to reset morale or confidence, kind of whatever you want to call it. I think it is called morale in the game. How are you going to overcome kind of the deficits that come with that, since we don't have the ability to reset those things?
I think the biggest thing is just getting some wins under the belt. I think once you get some wins, you hit a few of them scenarios, just put back a little bit into your team and, show them a little bit of love and they'll show you some, right?
I like that. So my final question is, I knew somebody was gonna start singing something. My final question is obviously with the Steelers, you've got your team for the rest of this cycle, but not only for the next Madden cycle that rolls out. Do you feel like you have the player on the Steelers roster right now that is worthy of an import, or maybe a guy that you got this draft, possibly, or do you feel like that next draft or two, depending on how far we get, is going to be, obviously you could hit a home run, but I'm just, how comfortable are you right now taking over a brand new team, looking at this team where you've got maybe 2 to 3 drafts, this draft and 1 or 2 others, to get that import to take into the next Madden for the Steelers?
I feel pretty good about the import situation. I think I feel better about the import situation than I do, not hitting many home runs in free agency like a lot of guys missed out, like I said. Import-wise, I think Outlaw left me with a solid wide receiver that I'm still going to be able to work on. And we had a good draft. It's number 2. We got that corner, and I feel really good about him. He was hitting dev. He has great athleticism, solid coverage, I'm assuming. So that definitely fills 2 of the Steelers' needs going into a fresh roster next year around, because they've never been one to splurge much on a corner. They got Minka, but they'll refuse to get a corner for whatever reason. And who knows whatever is going to happen with the Steelers wide receiver room in real life. So it gives me options to fill their needs in real life. And I'll assume Kenny's going to be more of a potential asset next year than a raw talent this year. So I think import-wise, that's kind of the bottom of the list. I think the biggest thing is being able to add to the team, add to the room, get some veterans, be able to spend some of this cap, and open cap doesn't win games, so you got to spend it somehow.
Yeah. I definitely think that corner, obviously, if I remember right, was higher on zone coverage and man coverage, but I know you got Pat Peterson in real life for the Steelers next season.
Oh, boy.
And that receiver that you got, but that I was also interested in that tackle that you have at left tackle. I think he could also be an importable player. But yeah, I was just curious if you are still looking for that or what, going forward. But like I said, I wish you the best, man. I think you're in a fun division. I definitely look forward to watching a lot of your games now that you're over there in that division. As I tried catching a lot of your games in the NFC East, and definitely something that I look forward to covering on not only Press Pass Live or Down and Distance.
Appreciate it, man.
There you have it. Penguins of the Pittsburgh Steelers back over there in Pittsburgh, going to rebuild a powerhouse. There was a couple things there that the commission me wanted to be like, I don't know that I agree, but I think halfbacks can still be used in the passing game. We just don't want to see them catch 14 passes a game. That's all. Anyway, Roger, you still with us? Is he in the chat? I don't know if he's in the chat because I don't have it pulled up.
I'm here.
Okay. Raj, when I come back, because nature calls, I want to interview you because I want to talk about the Houston Texans. We got the Cardinals up now, Chargers, Houston Texans, Panthers, Packers, Nipples, and his Ravens. And Trey, not only do I want to interview Mr. Roger about his Texans, I do want to talk about your Cardinals. We'll talk about all you guys since you're in here with me. But Trey, I also want to lean in. I said Cardinals. I meant Lions because I'm looking at the Cardinals logo right here in front of me. This is the point I was trying to make when I said Cardinals, and that is this is when the draft just screeches to a halt because people just log off that we're here and then we don't know who to skip. So, Trey, I'm leaning into you to tell me who to skip when I get back. I will be back. I'm giving it to you guys, so do some talking here because nature calls.
My one question I have for just anybody in this trash show room that we got going on, who do you feel like so far has been the biggest winner or the biggest loser in the draft so far?
I've got to go with Fel. That draft is, just from what he's shown, has been pretty stellar. Gets this. I think that was the one thing that was, as in that past game, might just open up Derrick Henry.
You kind of cut out there from me. Who did you say who had the good draft?
The Falcons.
Oh, the Falcons. Okay. How about you, Maniac?
I think we got like a little bit of delay. I think it's the reason why everybody keeps talking over. But anyway, I think the Falcons had a good draft. I think the Texans had a solid draft. I've noticed that the Rams and the Broncos. But if I had to give anybody but myself the best draft, I would have to say probably the Falcons.
I definitely think the Falcons have had a strong draft. Obviously, being number one, I think, we all expect anybody who's at number one, you've got to hit home on that pick. And he did with this quarterback. For me, I think the Rams.
Let's be honest. If you miss with the first pick, that's bad.
Yeah,
it's happened though.
That's what I'm saying. And it has happened. And that's what I'm saying is I feel like it's kind of an easy pick. For me, I feel like the Rams really got a decent quarterback. That Spence, I thought was going to be a solid quarterback, but having 97 throw power. And then I think he had all Bs for medium, short, and deep. So I'll be interested to see how he pans out, but I really think 97 throw power, that is an importable quarterback right off the rip for the Rams, who with Stafford in real life going into the next Madden, if he continues to stay as the Rams, that's definitely an importable quarterback right there. And I think, like I have said in previous shows and even on this show, the Broncos getting a receiver, I thought is something that the way he plays, the way he game plans, I feel like he needs that big threat at receiver. Not that Jerry Jeudy can't be, but just the speed, the size, type of guy that the gentleman that he got in this draft is that type of threat at receiver for him. So I definitely think he is. But I know, Maniac, you've had a solid draft, and Nate, I know, was kind of a little frustrated drafting the safety earlier, but he's had some really solid picks here in the last couple rounds, and already has a solid team, so I would have to put the Saints up there as well.
Crickets. Nothing but crickets.
Well, let's talk.
Well, we don't want to talk over each other. So
Let's talk Houston Texans. Houston Texans were a team that, and there's also a little bit of a delay. I hope they fix that with the Discord on PlayStation. There's like a hair of a delay, which stinks a little bit. But I want to talk Houston Texans. They were the team that I said will be probably the biggest turnaround in season 105. So, Raj, let's talk about your Texans. What was the tipping point? What turned things around last season for you? No, I know, but you started out, you've struggled the last few seasons. You started out kind of cold, but then something switched, and you got red hot. What was the switch?
I laid off some meds.
You can skip this one, Nate.
It's hard, guys, I'm going to be honest, it's hard to play this damn game when you're eating narcotics 5 times a day. You get lost and you forget where the hell you're at. And when they slowed that down and some of that away, I was able to focus. And that made a big difference, but I couldn't focus enough to make them.
You were known for the big pass game, and I know that I played you and gave up a lot of those big passes. But then you go and you trade away a 99 speed guy to the 49ers. Help us understand that.
I have 2 of them. And the guy that I kept, he's my crutch. Everybody in the league knows this already. He's the crutch. If you press him, it's over. He's gone. You're not going to catch him. So, and everybody knows if they do. If I see that safety drop, I'm going there. The other guy was just sitting over there as a decoy. He wasn't getting any. He only had like 800 yards.
Only.
So we trade him out, and we gain some other pieces to help on defense. So hopefully we can stop some of these other guys, because turnovers and the big play, what got me the wins that I got last year. It was all about timely turnovers and making a big pass play. So if we can keep that defense lined up and keep getting those turnovers, we can stay in more games.
I'm fascinated, because I really am, because it happens season after season, time and time again. Is there ever any pause about who you send those types of players to?
Me?
Yeah, I mean, you sent
I
a
thought
99
about
speed
it,
guy to
and
the
I
top
struggled
dude in the
with it.
league.
I thought about it, and I struggled with it, and I even went back and I offered him back to the Penguins because Penguins was trying to get my other guy, my crutch guy, and I'm like, "Grr, you can't have him. But I even went back to Penguins and I offered him to him. I'm like, he offered me this. You can have this guy. I'm ready to move on from him. You can have him. I even mentioned to you in your chat, I was like, hey, and you didn't say anything, so I was ready to move on from him. He was going somewhere, and that was the best offer I got.
Guys, what do we have for Raj?
I wish the Bears would have known because I would have been in on him.
Yeah, I would have been on too.
What do you need more speed for?
Make it
You
three.
got enough speed. You got enough speed in Motor City there that the turf is going to start on fire. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I got started nuclear explosion in there.
Williams ran that streak so much he put a rut in the floor there. And
Yep.
I mean, there's one literally vertical, and then there's one right behind the quarterback on the jet sweep.
In front, thank you.
Yeah, well, whatever. Front, behind, it's right behind the line of scrimmage. That's all I know. Because I can tell you right now, I can't count on one hand how many times that dude scored on a 40-yard plus play, whether it was a punt return, a streak route, or a jet sweep on me. It was unreal last year. Between you and Tyreek Hill, I was like overspent.
You should go watch the
Tyreek
playoff.
Hill had over 200 yards on me last year.
You should go watch the playoff game because all he did was run streaks on me. So, including the Hail Mary to win the game. I didn't press. I didn't press. Press means that no. I called man or zone, like I mixed it up. Like it just automatically does that. And since Nate sticks to the rules and I don't back dudes up because I know you. If I back dudes up, then you're running comeback routes. You're hot streaking, and I also know your game that you're running. Why y'all got me ranting right now? You run a post and a streak, and if you cover over the top, you're throwing the post, and if you cover the post, you're throwing over the top to the streak. That is your entire offense. And I'm still salty about that freaking Hail Mary. I'm so salty about that Hail Mary. Anyway, let's get back to Raj. Raj, what's it going to take for you to make the playoffs in the AFC this year?
Better defense.
Say more.
That's it in a nutshell. I gotta stop people from getting, if I've got a 3-point lead, I gotta be able to hold it. I can't allow those late marches to get points. Just can't do it.
How do you plan on doing that?
Well, we brought in some more. We brought in some upgrades. I brought in a better nickel corner to help cover the slot. I brought in a better strong safety that's going to end up being my sub linebacker to help with tight end coverage. And then I just drafted a safety who's going to step in and knock the tar out of some people.
Guys, what do we have here for our guy Raj?
I just have one. I mean, I might have more, but I have one question off the rip. I mean, I know Cincy in that division obviously had you're mentioning defense, and Cincy through the first part of the season, I think I want to say 10 weeks or so, had Jonathan Taylor as the leading rusher and had Michael Thomas as the top receiver. And with that pair, I mean, it's obvious that you want to fix the defensive side of things. Do you feel comfortable with the moves that you've made that you can slow down Michael Thomas on a 2,000-yard receiving season, and Jonathan Taylor with being the 99 and top of the line back he is? With those moves that you made, obviously you've improved your defense, but do you feel that you've gotten that defense to where you feel comfortable enough going into the season to slow an offense like Cincy or like Kobe or Massimo, some of those top of the line guys? And now we've talked about Penguins and being coming over to the Steelers and the rest of those guys.
Kobe murders me. I don't know what it is. Every time we play, he kicks my ass. I don't know why. I have not figured him out yet. As far as since he goes, we only played one time last year. The other time he got the CPU because I had to make a hospital trip. And the one time we did play, his offensive line could not withstand my pass rush. He threw 4 picks. So, yeah, I'm comfortable there because if his because God knows what he's got at quarterback now. If his quarterback's on the ground, he had Derek Carr last year. I don't know who he got now. If he's still got Carr or not, but
no, he cut Carr, and I think he's made a move. To be honest, while we're on that, if I recall, he traded for Desmond Ridder, and I believe that's his starting quarterback. And Ridder's like a 69 or 70 overall.
Yeah.
Good luck.
No, I'm good. I can put him on his back. So I feel comfortable against Cincy. The rest, Denver, Little Koch, Kobe, they clean my clock. Maximum, I think I'm 500 against. Bill, I actually beat last year for the first time. So I think I have enough in the tank to get a wild card spot. I'm not going to say I'm going to challenge for the division because I still think since he's going to win more games than me overall.
Well, I mean, you got hot at the right time last season, and I think if you come out and don't have a 1-6 start,
so I ran into.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean, but I just got hot at the right time too. On the back half of the season, I was struggling, but I do like some of the moves you made, and I really like your secondary. Stingley, obviously, Nate'll say some good things about Stingley, but I think he's really one of the premier corners in the league, and he's young and he's got every tool possible. So I think him, and then you have Taron Johnson, and then adding Charvarius Ward, who's kind of the vet. I really like what you've got there. The safety thing, I know you said Ward. And then you got Chuck Clark, who's kind of the thumper, brings the hit power. But even Jimmy Ward being the cover guy, I really like what you've done there, for your secondary. And we already know what you're capable on the offense. I think you're set for a good season. And I wish you the best of luck. My one biggest question for you is what do you feel like you have left to improve on your roster before the season starts? If you can improve one thing.
I got that left tackle Bowles in free agency, and I moved him to right tackle.
You stole him from me, so I'm well aware of that.
Right tackle was a sore spot because I couldn't. I mean, I put 3 different guys over there, and they would give up 2, 3, 4 sacks a game. I'm like, damn it. Because I couldn't find the answer there. So I'm hoping that move fixes the right tackle spot. I'm good inside because I've got depth at guard like crazy. Because I've got Green and Sykes, and then behind them I have Bishop and Townsend. Actually, no, Townsend I still have Townsend. And Tunsil got moved to center because he couldn't block on the outside. So if I can,
I think your line is
right tackle spot. That's going to go a long way.
Yeah, I think your offensive line has improved. I mean, like I said, you added Bulls, and I think you drafted a guy or 2 here in the draft as well. So if one of those guys pans out, you've already got 4 strong spots. I think your right guard's your weakest, if I recall. But it'll be interesting to see how that kind of comes together and what happens with that. Like I said, I wish you the best, and I'm looking forward to covering some of your games. Being in Cincy's division, I know he watches you closely, and you're definitely going to be covered on our show going forward.
Appreciate it.
My guy Raj is this.
We can.
weird mixture of confidence saying scoffing at the Colts and then lack of confidence by saying that the Colts are going to win more games. I'm very confused by what Raj is going to do, but
He's gonna win. He's not.
listen, the Houston Texans are going to be a challenge in the AFC, and that just makes the AFC that much better.
We only played one time, and I was able to get his quarterback on his back. That's all I said.
And that you were not worried about his new quarterback. You did say that as well.
No, I mean, same thing. It's rinse, repeat. He's gonna, as long as he didn't fix his line, which I didn't see him draft anybody, and I got the best tackle in free agent, so I know he didn't get him. As long as he didn't fix his line, his quarterback's gonna be on his back.
Raj, I love you. I still hate you for moving that receiver over to the San Francisco 49ers. I want to turn the corner here just a little bit. I want to talk to Maniac before we wrap things up here in just a couple of picks. Maniac, moving over to your old team, the Minnesota Vikings. First, welcome back again for the very last time. After this, we're just going to act like you've always been here. Moving back over to Minnesota, though, what was kind of the biggest weakness that you knew you immediately had to attack for that team?
Well, the defense was an obvious weakness. The really the only main game I got to play with the team was against Hurt, and he just did whatever he wanted to do against my team. It was that was a definite glaring spot, and then the other thing was the offensive line, which I've made some adjustments to the offensive line. I don't know why, but the best pass blocker was actually playing center, and so I rearranged that. And then the other thing that I really improved on was my skill players, because the wide receiver group was really loaded with some really good talent. But the only problem was, for me personally, they were all built like copycats of each other, and I had 8 of them, and they were all 88 speed, 6'4", 223 pounds. And so the couple games that I played, and I noticed that they could barely get 10-15 yards down the field without just being completely harassed. They weren't nothing getting open downfield. I didn't have no deep threat, so that was one of the things that I had to address, was get a deep threat that could take the top off of things, plus also help open up some of those underneath routes, the intermediate routes.
Evidently, you should have talked to Roger.
Then the lack of yeah, I should have. That's what I said whenever he said that he would have had it available. I was like, well, I would have been number 3. Here I am. But I did get a trade done with the Colts. I got I think a draft pick from last draft's Sykes, which is a decent player. He's 94 speed, 93 acceleration. But the other spot on the defensive side was cornerback. I've got some young pieces there, but really, and it's still a problem. There's no really veteran presence. Or I think the oldest cornerback I have is 24. Which can be a good thing to have further on down the line, but at this point in time, it's a lack of experience, awareness. But those things can be built upon, and I just made my number 1 pick in the draft with Shepard, and he's going to be a cornerstone. He's 21. He very well may be my import, looking in for next Madden possibly. So he's going to be that guy to guard all these speed wide receivers. Of course, we got Trey with Williams in there, and so it's he's going to be managing him. Well, you are the champion. You have to.
You're gonna get talked about a lot. So
heavy is the crown, my friend.
There is a big red target on your back now, sir. Just saying.
Maniac, let's talk about that for a second. You're walking into a division with the champion. You're walking into a division with Big Hurt, who is in the playoffs. You're walking into a division where Priest can beat anyone. I don't care what his record is. He can beat anyone. He was right there in the hunt last year. What is the thing that you think you have to do to be able to compete in this division?
I'm just gonna be consistent. I got to come in with a good game plan, not be too impatient. I'm the type of guy that I want to solidify my offensive run game. And if I get away from that too early, then I'd start to kind of fall apart because I start pressing, and that's always been my game plan, is to just to control the clock, play the game at my tempo, and then force the other guys to play off of that. And I think with the moves that I've made, I think I will be competitive. I still believe that this team is going to be another year out before I have some of these pieces maybe developed a little bit more. I know the quarterback's still young. He's got some growing pains that still needs to happen, but he's a solid quarterback to start with. I know I just drafted another young guy, but this guy's got 96 throw power and all the attributes that you look for in a quarterback of the future for your franchise. And so he's 22, definitely somebody that can lead this franchise for the rest of this Madden cycle.
Last one for me, and then I'll open it up to the guys. Give me a prediction for the Vikings in season 105.
My hope is I get more than 8 wins, but I'm looking at about a 6-win season, and I'll be competing for that 4th spot in the division. It's really tough. Hurt and Trey both have had a couple seasons on me to get their team kind of positioned where they want it, and so I've got to come into this thing with a little bit behind the process, but it's Madden. If I do cross my T's and dot my I's correctly and do the things I need to do, there's some things that I can help push my team along. And so, but I'm looking at I'm hoping more than 8, but I'm looking at around 6-7 win season for sure.
Guys, what do we have for Maniac?
I'm just looking at
Maniac is big hurt, novice. Fine. Go ahead, Trey. You go first. You're champion.
They was worried I was going to be the one going off about this. Just looking at your schedule here, 4 of your first 5 games are on the road. Do you think if you need to get majority of those wins to have a clear run going with a stretch? I know there's a couple of stretches where you have like 3 or 5 consecutive home games. Do you think going 3-2 out of those 5 games would give you an advantage later on in the season?
Yeah, definitely. If I can get three wins out of those first 4 or 5 road games, that's crazy. So that's going to be pivotal for my season, because if I start 1-4 or 2-3 is going to be a little bit more difficult. But I could even go 0 wins, and that could be a definite monkey wrench into the season to start off with. So those games are really, since you say that, are really important to the success of season 105 for the Vikings.
Yeah, just looking at how do you feel you compare going against the Eagles, the Bears, the Bengals, and the Packers in those 5 games?
Well, not exactly completely scouting the other teams, but knowing Big Hurt's team, since he's been the one I've played so far, and the pieces that I've seen him add, it's definitely his team's built to get after the quarterback, and then he's built that team to kind of similar to the way I built my team. A lot of run, play action, and control the ball. That's kind of what I've seen from Big Hurt. So I think looking at it now, I'm getting closer to being more equal with the Bears, but still I've got a long ways to go to get my team up to that standard.
Do it, Big Hurt.
Maniac, this is Big Hurt. Obviously, you know, I appreciate you joining our Done show and everything that you've done leading in.
Absolutely.
And I know you've got a couple of games in the end of last season. How do you feel overall about your draft so far?
I'm really I know we kind of talked like before the draft, and we were discussing about the draft picks and how it was imperative to my team's success, because I missed out on a lot of the free agents because either the guys didn't want to come to my team because I didn't have a Hall of Fame quarterback, or whatever, that the location of my team was cold weather. They didn't want to get cold. So a lot of those were like, I was out of those situations. And so the draft was like so imperative for my team because, and I told you, like, if I hit on it, then it's going to help propel my team. And if I miss, then it's going to, possibly be a setback or take a little bit longer for the rebuild. But I have hit on, so far what I've seen from Madden, 6 hidden devs in this draft.
Wow.
And my last strong safety that I took was actually a hidden dev in the 6th round or 5th round, and he looked even better than the one I drafted like in the 3rd round, I think. So it really did, like, this draft out of my 10 picks that I had was a difference maker in propelling my team into season 105.
Obviously, you're coming back into the OMFL. You know quite a few of these guys from either being here before, covering it, while you were trying to, wait till your time came back up, and then even playing some of these guys in like the deuce and stuff as well in your time within grown folks. Who is your biggest, nemesis, or the one guy that you're not wanting to play, not based on team, but just, mano a mano, game manager, gameplay caller? What's the one guy that you don't want to see?
Everybody gets their D money, I think. So that's taking the scapegoat route there. Dwayne's always been like my nemesis, I think. It seemed like, I've always struggled. When we first started playing, I think I had like 4 or 5 straight wins against Dwayne, and then after that, I think Dwayne's like, I had a run of like a 1-13 against me or something like that. But one that's within the division that I'm currently in right now, Trey. He's a big competitor. He's always, we've had some like games where I blowed him out and where he's blowed me out, and then we've had some games where it was just like,
y'all did what?
The theatrics of well, now I lost my train of thought. I was like, really?
My bad.
No, that's all right. But no, we've had some games that were, some nail biters, and we didn't bite each other's nails. Thank you. So, but no toenails. No toenails.
Oh man, this just keeps getting worse.
I know, right? Nate started it. Blame Nate. But yeah, Trey is one of those competitors that he knows the the ins and outs of his team. He builds a team that plays his strengths, and it's always been, like I said, it's been a very interesting game. Always, it's a chess match, a lot of times, and the only thing I can say though is that I remember that one game, Trey, that I had those like 3 kickoff returns.
I remember that too.
I won that game.
Yeah,
that was probably the most insane game I'd ever played, and still think about it. So
stopped everywhere. Gave up 3 kick return touchdowns and only could kick field goals. Oh.
Yeah,
Well, let's hope we see more of that this season. I hope for the rest of the league in the NFC North that we see a lot of that this season because I'm not going to lie. Seeing the Lions win the Super Bowl was just kind of like, but not that Trey's not a good guy. Trey's a wonderful guy. But I just did not want to see the Lions win a Super Bowl because now I can't give them a hard time about not winning a Super Bowl. So
you started the problem. I ended it.
So wonderful. Listen,
monkey on his back.
We are down to the last 3 picks here, and I want to quickly interview Big Hurt, and then I want to quickly get a winner from each of you that are still here. My computer is screaming. It is red hot. It literally is almost 200 degrees. I know that I think the stream has been skippy a little bit because it's so hot. So it's begging for me to give it a break here. I am going to upgrade this freaking computer hopefully in the next 6 months. Big Hurt, let's talk about your Bears. Something was said tonight that made me think that maybe you were thinking about getting rid of your quarterback.
I was in the process or thought process of moving Fields at one point. Couple things. I know I was in talks with Penguins for the number 2 spot. He was interested in a few guys. Fields was one of them. I also had a few other teams that reached out. And I almost actually traded Fields last season when I was like 5-6 to the Colts. But I was on the road to being 5-6 before the trade deadline in week 8 or 9 or whatever it is. I almost traded Fields to the Colts at that point in time. Decided not to. But yeah, there has been a couple of moments where I've thought about making the move, and I just couldn't pull the trigger, and I've held on to Fields for that reason.
I meant to say this earlier, but I practice what I preach, Raj. D Money reached out to me for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and I told him, don't even throw me an offer because it's going to be no. I would never send him to you anyway. So let's get back to you, Big Hurt. What's it going to take? You got to the playoffs. You made a nice little run. Your offensive line, though, gave up a lot of pressure in my game, but it was a great defensive game. What's it going to take for your team to get over the hump?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is, strong defensive play. There are times where I felt like I just couldn't stop guys. Hence, Trey, a couple times, he got to me with big plays. The game against Massimo, Tyreek Hill really tore it up against me. And, there's a couple other games where I just felt like I was really kind of chasing points on the scoreboard. And I felt like I can score points, but I get in that mindset of being more of a defensive guy where I really feel like I should be able to get a stop when I need it. And there were times where I just felt like I couldn't. And so really kind of putting a little more focus on, some of the holes that I had on the defensive side of things, trying to shore some things up there, even though I felt like my defense is pretty good. I wanted to be, take the next step or make them, more on an elite level for the defensive side of play. But on offense, it's really just kind of finding my niche. Like I had Kareem Hunt, and 2 seasons ago, I ran the ball really well with him. Last year, I got James Cook as my compliment back to not Dalvin Cook, but Kareem Hunt. And I didn't run the ball as well this last season, and I think part of it was my offensive line play, and some of it was game playing and momentum and who I was going up against. But I just feel like I really need to shore up the offensive line play, which is why I went to my first 2 picks with O-line. And so trying to kind of fill some of those holes. I think, at the end of the day, the old saying, defense wins championships, and run the ball, get the clock running, and limit possessions on some of these guys like Massimo or Trey, being the 2 guys that really lit my defense up last year. And there's plenty of other people in this league that are strong offensive-minded people. I really need to be able to run the ball and get that clock going and put pressure on them, knowing that in hindsight, I feel like I should be able to make a stop at any given time. So I'm hoping that is the case for this season.
Give me a prediction.
I really feel like I have a better team than I did last year. I really got some depth in my front seven that I did not have last year. For instance, I had Nwasu as my outside linebacker, and he got hurt, and I had like nobody behind him, so I was starting a rookie that was like a 67 overall, and then I lost like a defensive end on top of it, and I was able to pick up Sam Hubbard, but like I just didn't have the depth at the defensive spot with guys getting tired and rotating in and out, or guys getting hurt. That was one thing, and then the second thing is just being able to do those things. I feel like I got better at certain positions. The nickelback was a big thing for me, and like I said, edge rush. Like I have good guys coming off the edge, but when one of those guys gets hurt, then I just needed somebody, because a lot of focus goes into blocking Cameron Meredith or Tyson Cash. And so I needed somebody else as well. And when Owasu went down, I didn't have that. I think with the depth I've added and hopefully the offensive line play that I've drafted, I think I can get back to that 10-win, 11-win season. But I'm not going to lie, the division's gotten way tougher adding Maniac. That's 2 games a season that are going to be really tough. And then this OMFL, I feel like with the parity that we've seen in this cycle, it's been more than ever. And so I can see myself really realistically being anywhere from about 6 to 12 or 13 wins. And I know that's kind of crazy to say, but it really just depends on how my team plays together. I don't feel like I have the best roster. I feel like I have a solid roster, but I don't feel like I have a D-Wayne or a D-Money or a Trey type of roster where I can just exploit people at any given moment. I have to rely more on a little bit more schematic type of things. I feel like your team with the Saints is really good too, and you're a really good schematic type of scheme base, and dialing things up and making people setting up the next play. And I'm gonna have to rely on that more than ever. So that's gonna be interesting, because I did add some speed at receiver with Tutu Atwell, but he's digressed, and his morale sucks, and so I need to work with him a little bit. But I'm interested to see what he does, along with Anthony Swartz coming back, adding a little bit of speed there, because Tyler Boyd and Drake London are bigger body receivers, but they're not able to stretch the field, and that was one other thing I missed last season.
Thank you, Big Hurt. I think your division is going to be great to watch how it plays out, and it's going to be a fun season. I'm looking forward to season 105. The plan is to play through season 106. We'll see how that plan unfolds as we go, but that is the plan, and that's what people should start to prepare for. I know that always means people do funky stuff with contracts and teams, but such is life. We'll figure it out. Before we get out of here, it is 10:52 Central Time. At 11 o'clock, we will advance to week 2 of the preseason, 11:10 to week 3, and 11:20 to week 4. In week 4, we will stay for people to do free agencies. 60, somebody correct me, 67 and under is free to sign. 68 and above, you have to put in a waiver claim. You need to get your practice squad set, and we will be over to week number 1. Before we get out of here, though, give me one winner for today. I'm going first. I'm going to be lazy. I got to go Atlanta Falcons. I know he had the number 1 pick. He was not the number 1 pick team, in my opinion. He was a much better team than that. He's got the quarterback situation